go here, redeploy,
Did
do
you,
this,
wait.
kill. I was like, I have no idea. But then I just like thought about it. And I was like, okay, like it seems pretty basic. And I was like going through it, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And I was just like, I still couldn't believe recursion's strategy, especially the second game. But anyway, I digress.
So wait. When I was listening to your interview, I listened to it while it was going on. You seem like when he asked you that question, like what was the strategy? I almost felt like the pin drop. You're like,
That's what I was like. I was like thinking in the back of my head, like, dude, fuck, this is why I said I didn't want to go. Because I feel like everyone, maybe they weren't assuming that or whatnot, but like I led backs for so long, and like I did a bunch of different like tournaments and just squad lane, platooning, like whatever it is, just from my history of PlanetSide, that I feel like D was just like, oh yeah, what was the strategy? Like assuming that like I was probably leading something or I was privy to it. I was thinking like, no, bro, like, I don't know anything. But I thought about, because Outfit Wars is not complicated. It's more complicated than a lot of things in PlanetSide, but it's not that complicated.
Yeah, well, you've got like, I mean, you have a lot of prep work, you like strategy, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're shooting guns, you're taking bases.
It's the same 3 bases. They're all triple points. They all cap at the same amount of time. Now they're different bases, but there's not like you got to take this generator out to get into this room, and then if you take out the bridge over here, you extend a bridge over here, you build this, like you can get, like there's not like, it's very like straightforward. It's not deep in regards to your options. I would say either have air or you don't. You know, the other team's air stronger, you don't have good air. You know, now I like that the combined arms is a little bit more up there, but the point is it's pretty straightforward. So when I just sat there and I was like, fuck you, Frog. And I was like, wait a minute. No, it's not even that difficult. We've done the same strategy every match.
Yeah, I heard that. Frog said it, and then you said it. Like that. That's interesting. We'll get into that too. But
yeah. You lead me out. You gotta be careful, man. I'll go.
It's
I'll go
all
right
good. It's all good. I've learned to this thing ain't. It ain't no thing. It ain't no thing. So what's up, everybody? This is StratSide 14 now. 14 in.
I've been listening to him at work, man.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And this time around, we are with Aeflic. Sort of don't even really need an introduction. I mean, especially if you're like a hardcore gamer, you'll see what I mean. It's Aeflic's been around a while, and he's a very, very talented head clicker. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the state of the game, going into some of the old style things, the new style. He and I both have been around for a little while. So then let's jump into the agenda. So, disclaimer, as per usual, scope of the talk, introductions, and then we'll jump right into the discussions. So, I don't know about you, Aeflic. I speak for myself. Do you speak for anybody else other than yourself?
No.
So we both speak for ourselves, and that's where it is. So scope of the talk. This is more of just like an easygoing thing. We both been established. I mean, it really wasn't a very hard conversation to have previous to be like, hey man, what do you want to talk about? You know, we've kind of gone through. We've seen the same timeline. We just approach it from different places. So that's where we really wanted to kind of talk with each other about that. And then what it nothing really came to mind. I mean, not a trap. It's not a blast. You know, it's not about to happen. So, introductions. I'm Lanzer. I've been playing since beta. I'm NC Devil Dogs, which is Connery. I'm a main battle tank. So Vanguard is most of the time I'm in a Vanguard. Lately with my VODs have been solo Colossus. And yeah, just been a casual player. Aeflic, who do you play for? What do you do?
I'm be honest, I hate intros, but
that's all good.
Okay. I play for Goblin Jumpers now. Been playing since beta as well, and I actually just checked, and I was a day before you. 11/26 of 2012.
You were a day before me.
Yeah, you were on the 27th. That's what Fizzy tells me. So we're coming up on literally 10 years of actually playing it. Yeah, I just been playing the game. I played every, from Zerg fits to mid fits to, hate to say elite fits, to soloing with, streaming and just people that watch the stream or are online that are NC. I play NC Connery almost exclusively, although I think with Goblins, I'll probably try to play all three because that's what they prefer. So I'll probably dip into that. But yeah, I've been primarily Emerald NC. And followed that, like I said, almost exclusively. I did a little dipping on TR and Vanu here and there for different tournaments and whatnot. So I got some prep in, but I don't know. I'm like a big loyalist in real life, so I kind of carried over into the game, and everyone's, faction loyalty is not really a thing anymore. I just prefer to play one more than the others. But yeah.
Yeah, and he might not say it. At least, no, I did see it on your Twitter, but you aren't just, been playing a long time. If you look up LA1 anchor kills, my man is still sitting at the top with 221,000 kills server-wide. I'm sorry, game-wide across all servers. There he is,
all
right
world
there.
Combined arms, baby.
That's it, man. And I looked you up too. You have... I just lost the stat. You have 429,000 kills. And for reference, if anyone wants to know what the reference is, I have 20,000 kills.
But you're a vehicle guy.
I am a vehicle guy, but still,
fast.
I've been playing a day longer than him, and he has 400,000 more kills than me.
Yeah. I don't even. I mean, even I have 64,000 on the Gothsaw and 58 on the service anchor. So really, I have almost 300,000 with the anchor. But anyway,
yeah. Were you ranked? Were you ranked on the Gothsaw?
I don't. Godsaw's not even top 10. I don't think. I don't like it.
So yeah, I mean, it ranked number 1 across the whole game for LA1 anchor kills. My only claim to fame in this aspect is I'm ranked number 1 for the R-Heat cannon across the whole game. But that's out of a pool of 50 players. Only 50 players have been able to unlock it. So I'm a small fish in a small pond. But hey, number one is number 1, baby.
Exactly. I am a number 1 with the service anchor. Small pool there too.
Yeah.
Very small pool.
So yeah, man, that's the introductions. I appreciate it. I really we've spoken a few times, but our paths haven't crossed too often. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, we just be keeping in touch, and now I'm glad we get to sit down and do this. Our discussion, the way we talked about it can flow however, but we talked about different hot takes that we may have for Outfit Wars, what we consider to be optimal PlanetSide, and then kind of the state of the game, old style versus new style. And I didn't know this, but you said, I think it was in Shock Tours podcast, that you and him were in shoot, it just floated out of my brain. You were part of a Zerg fit when you first started.
Yeah, I missed PlanetSide 1, and I always wanted to play it, and I was literally as a kid, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, and I can't believe it's dead. Or I didn't have it, and then I heard about PlanetSide 2, and I was watching the trailers for it, and I got super pumped up, and then I came in and I was just kind of meandering around and just kind of big-eyed at everything, and just thought it was unbelievable. And then I got into a platoon of WMD, Weapons of Mass Destruction. They're kind of not really they weren't milsim, but they had 3 platoons up, and there's a platoon leader and a squad leader, and they're talking about this command channel and working with the other leadership of the outfit, let alone the faction. I was just mind boggled. I was like, this is insane. These are all real people. It was awesome. And so I joined them and went way too deep with them. Met a lot of cool people, a lot of friends there.
I have a note. You said you used to be a Sky Guard, an Alpha Squad.
Dude, there was they did this thing and I was a Sky Guard, and we had every squad had and somebody had watch the Sunday and the Sky Guard and our little convoy of vehicles. Everyone, all squads were had to pull spawns, and then obviously the Sky Guard and some people had tanks and whatnot. And I think they ran 3 platoons back then.
And that was WMD.
WMD, yeah.
But then
that was the most fun I had in the game ever, just because it was so. Never played a game like that. always like a lobby of like, deathmatch or something like that with a small amount of players. And like
you and I
geez.
enjoyed the same time window in PlanetSide. But how did you get from there?
Hold on. This dude, huge Devil Dog fan. Huge. Another reason I got into it, I remember watching videos of Evil Pig. Right? Evil Pig?
Yep, Evil Pig, that's right.
YouTube videos of him in PlanetSide 1, and then I saw you guys in PlanetSide 2. I think I just got on the wrong server or something, and I didn't want to leave after I got with WMD. But I remember watching TE and
TE was the big dog.
And that armor column come down, and they just decimated the Devil Dogs. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it was tit for tat, but when you're in charge of your own YouTube, you can make it look however you want. But
that's true. So how did you get from there? You ended up creating your own Zerg fit, like VCO, wasn't it?
Yeah, something happened. Oh, I was in college or something, and I got busy, and I left, and I came back. And like the leadership was gone, and some guy was No Jumpers was running it, and then we had a falling out. And I remember CFS Chris running on some hill in proxy chat, just going crazy, beer, boobs, and freedom, and just going crazy. And I joined up with them, and I co-led that. And then,
is that where you met Shock?
I think it might have been Bax. I can't remember VCO or Bax. I really can't remember. I know he was in Bax, but I can't remember if it was VCO or not.
Gotcha.
And I went through like 10,000 people in that outfit, honestly.
Gotcha.
I would like to think that we were one of the best, if not the best, Zerg fit in regards to splitting up squads and platoon. Because I remember at once we were running 11 squads.
Yeah.
This is like way after the game had been out, and like that type of like three platoons was like unheard of. Maybe AOD, but not the coordination, and like sending 2 squads here and then maybe a platoon here and then like a squad here. Like being able to do that in a Zerg fit is very difficult because you need all the leads for it.
Yeah.
But we were able to do that, and we were able to kind of flex our pop around without just dumping massive pop on places unless we wanted to for some reason, if it was an alert or something. So I was really proud of that, but then we just kept bleeding off the good players who happened to also be my good friends, but they would just go to a better outfit because they didn't like the Zerg fit, and like, it was slow, and the guy on your left and your right wouldn't protect you, and you die because they just were trash, or they didn't care, or whatever. And I kept wanting like to have them improve, and I think that splintered us.
Oh,
and I left
gotcha.
for Backs because that was something that was more up my alley.
Gotcha. Well, they're still going strong. They have 1,800 members, and Stormpaw is leading the charge on that one.
Yeah, me and Storm had a big falling out too. I remember that we had some choice words. I think we're cool now, though. I mean, hey, that stuff happens. It's got to happen.
It does. It does happen.
Because it's just you can't have casual and competitive, and I hate to say competitive or serious or try hard, maybe get better, whatever. You just cannot mix those two together. And the fact when you're that large, it has to happen, and something has to give, because either you need to go more towards the casual side and you keep bleeding off players. The problem is the good players are the ones that play the most and that try hard the most and go to like the trainings and all that stuff back then, and so you naturally like are better friends with them than the casuals.
Yeah.
So like when your friends are like leaving or considering leaving, like even like my best friends, like I have like their phone numbers and stuff. When they were considering leaving, I was like, why would I not go with my friends or protect my friends as opposed to the casuals who don't care? Why would I split myself in half just to lose my actual friends? So I was like, you know what? This is what we're gonna do.
We're definitely gonna get into that, and whether it's fairytale or achievable.
Days.
And then last but not least, I gotta ask. The anchor play. We'll hit that very last. But hot take. We already talked a little bit about it, but what was your hot take on Outfit Wars?
I mean, I actually played in it. The other two were trash. I didn't even want to. The idea of it was just, and getting on Desolation and realizing that it literally was desolate as a map, and there's just a bunch of donuts. I was like, dude, this just doesn't excite me at all. There's no, and then combined arms 1v1v1. Construction. I know you're a construction guy, but it just didn't.
Yeah.
It's like the puzzle pieces just didn't fit together. And I mean, I give people credit for 2 years, two times giving it a try, but it wasn't to me fun. It wasn't. There was no legitimacy behind it in regards to a 1v1v1, no matter how you look at it. I had forgotten that this was even a thing. I talked to Rel about it. I was like, dude, it has to be 1v1. Et cetera, for me to even consider it. And then I came back and I got into platoon with a friend. I didn't realize it was the Goblin Jumpers. They were just doing some crazy stuff, and I like the mixture of really good team play with objective play, and then also being able to get a lot of kills. And they mix those two together. And then being a good player and having good medics is game changing.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was you or Frog Mike who said that. Oh, it was you who said that they had kind of like unlocked some potential in your mind of what a medic can do.
Yeah, there's just stuff I didn't even know you could do in the game. Not even like the exploit stuff, just like really like diving deep into medic play that I'd never considered outside of just resing and throwing res grenades. Like, and that's
is it trade secrets? Are you allowed to say what it is?
No, I mean just like tethering and how fast you can get somebody up off a death, as opposed to I think that's the tether is if you're not tethered, obviously it's just slower. Like your get back up is slower. I'll probably explain that poorly. I went through like a little medic training thing, watched the video on it, and you're
talking about how before they run out, you're tethered to them, so when they die, then you can revive them faster.
And I think they're trying to fix this on the test server, but essentially they can like hold you. They can like pre-res you.
Yeah.
So when you die, like the res is already started. Your uptime's just more like you get res quicker essentially. I didn't like things like throwing a res grenade before like going into a room and like if I die, like the res grenade's already going off. It's just like nitpicking things,
optimizing.
Like yeah, optimizing. So like, and obviously like you're fighting against massive overpop. And like I've always ran medic as like a combat medic in my mind, and they do that too. But knowing when to actually go mid to a primary, which has always been a meme to me. But like it's just they're so good at. I can't. I'm trying to wrap my head around this, but keeping me up or like your good shooters up. Like, I can farm in any scenario at any base at any pop, and you usually get double digits out of it, no matter how bad it is, for the most part. It just like I said, it unlocked me to like another level of being able to get kills. On the other hand, I had to play a lot more reserved and kind of not outstretch as much, and so like yeah, maybe the kills went down in some regards, but when it really came down to it, maybe a lot better of a player, and a lot of things I didn't consider with C4 and whatnot, and how to deal with maxes and overpop, and like I said, I just never considered these things before, and maybe that's my own fault, but and a new chapter for me after almost playing 10 years in a month.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of fun there, man.
Goblin, the what y'all had going, it like unlocked. Would you say it unlocked like a new level of play for you?
Yeah. And it just brought
this
back
is coming from the guy who's number one anchor kills.
Well, I'm a very straightforward. I do when I find something that I like, I just do it forever. And I usually set a deep goal for something. That's how I kept. Streaming really helped, and then obviously setting deep goals is the only way to get through 10 years of excessive play, doing the same thing, same guns, same build, same play, over and over and over again, same bases. Especially with Lattice. But no, I got that feel of like the original PlanetSide experience when I came
Goblin
back to
Jumpers?
Goblins. Yeah, man.
But make that connection for me. What did that?
When I was streaming and back was kind of dead, and I was working from home remote 5 days a week, and I would play during the day while Liam was in daycare, and like my job wasn't that busy, so it was just a bunch of random people. Maybe there's a Bax guy here or there or whatnot. And even with Bax and like prime time, it's like when the pop hits a certain amount and there's so much spam and like so much going on, like there's only so much you can do. And even to a degree, that's the same thing with goblins. But it was like, okay, like, it turned more into, we're going to try to cap the base. Once the pop hit, if it pop hits too much and there's too many force multipliers and, yada, 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 you have no sunders up, the beacon goes down 10 times. It's like, okay, how many kills can we get out of that experience? So it's kind of like a win-win. It's 80-20. They come in, they wipe us off point, they're happy. I got 25 kills, I'm happy. Can I get a 30 stack? Can I get a 40 stack? So I kind of like made it into my own mini game, so to speak. But coming back with goblins and playing during prime time, having a base at 80-20 with significant pop or even 70-30, et cetera. It just, I don't know, it just unlocked something that I've missed from the game for a long time. True objective play, and like redropping bases against that same pop, like as almost a staple of the outfit, was really new. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it does not work out, and it can be almost embarrassing. But a lot of times you can go back in, and there's 30 seconds left on the timer. You can tuck back in, and
because they're not paying attention.
Not paying attention. They spread out, or I mean,
and y'all did that a lot in Outfit Wars.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you just need a second chance to get tucked back in. Hold some different angles, or condense a little bit more. It is not even so much that they're not paying attention. As long as you can get that up, you have a chance. Now, a lot of the time you just redrop, and there's 6 maxes on the point, and there's 40 people, and you can't get set up. But we've also dropped on that and cleared the point, set back up, and then kept the base. So
is that what happened with y'all on Recursion?
On another level, huh?
Is that what happened with your match against Recursion, the first one?
My understanding with the first one is Frog Mike didn't realize that Alpha wasn't touching the point, and he didn't call them back to the point. Because I think, honestly, I could be wrong. I don't want to upset anybody, but I think we would have capped it if Alpha had been on point. Because there's 1 second, but they were not. The whole squad wasn't on point. So gotcha. That was my understanding why we didn't warp gate them in the first match.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I was flabbergasted that we did the same strategy, and they almost did. At least they went for the same base the second time and let us cap Bitter for free. It boggles my mind. And I talked to Pick about it and some other guys, and they kind of convinced me it was a decent move, but it seemed like way too much a risk. Something you would try in the first match, but then why would you try in the second match?
Yeah,
because you're guaranteeing us a base.
Yep, it's points on the map.
As long as we're able to stall on the point for just even 10 seconds, which we were. So I don't know.
Tell me about this strategy y'all did every single match of Outfit Wars.
It was just the go to Bitter Gorge and fast cap Bitter Gorge. I think Air supported Bitter Gorge. When I tell you I don't really know much about the strategy or even the squads, I knew Alpha and Bravo were pure infantry. Charlie was Flex, and then Delta was the vehicles, but I don't even know how many people we had in the air at a given time. I think Charlie could flex into air, etc., so we could have,
I didn't see a ton. I think I saw maybe a squad's worth.
Yeah, that's what. But all I know is that Air was supposed to be with us at Bitter, and obviously that can change as the match opens and the plan changes. But we would go to Bitter. I think it was 1 squad, and then we had Air with us, and then we would fast cap that, and then we would go support, wherever, which happened to be Granite. So it was just. And once you start switching pop over to a triple
Bitter
base,
and then spiderweb out from there.
Yeah, well, the idea is just get a base, cap it, and then put slow down at the other base. I think Bravo or Alpha. I was in Bravo. I think every match besides the first match. Alpha goes to Granite to stall. Bravo and Charlie go to Bitter, and I don't even know what the fuck Delta did. I mean, they did lots of cool stuff with their tanks in there and whatnot. But
yeah, y'all had Clone and Delta working out for you guys. All right.
They put the A team together for sure, but there wasn't a lot of good teams. But at that population level of 48 players, there was at least 4 good teams, maybe 5 on Emerald, which is impressive. Almost literally a month away from being 10 years old of a game. But yeah, you can't let us cap the base for free. That means we're guaranteed to fast cap it no matter what. We don't stall it, and we stall you even for a second, we have a chance at the other base.
Yeah.
Which is what happened. Twice.
So your general hot take on Outfit Wars, you didn't like this year?
Loved it. No, I didn't. The first 2 years were trash. I know I went on a tangent there. I came back to the game, joined Goblins, because I had not seen an NC outfit on Emerald ever do that since 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh damn, I haven't had help on NC literally since Zoe Max, and everyone left during Zoe Max. And it was maybe Kane 1, but that's not my style. I joined them, totally forgot about Outfit Wars. Because everyone's like, oh, you're a ringer, you just blah blah blah, you just came back for no dude, I didn't even care. And then Krindus was like, oh, it's 1v1, it's on Nexus. I was like, oh shoot, that's awesome. And I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna have time to play with my family and stuff. There's no way I can commit to like a 2-month-long tournament or something. I don't even know how long it was. And they kept pushing it back, and like that was like lots of fights about that. And no, I loved it, dude. It was awesome. Lots of things need to be tweaked and fixed, and different ideas, but the whole idea was just try it. Just try it. That's what I've been saying about PlanetSide for the longest time. Just try it. Now, in my opinion, okay, yeah, just try construction. It's dog shit. Get rid of it. Move on. I know you might have different opinions, but just try construction and move on. Their problem is they just kept it, and it bled too many resources for, to me, little gain. Because most people can't even put 2 walls together. I say that all the time on my stream. Like, people can't even, you got a wall here, a wall here, you got a wall up here. It's just like, and then no one fights at the base. Anyway,
that's true. That is true.
Outfit Wars was great. I know lots of people had, I think it was like 2-1 in favor of this Outfit Wars. But the game is so different for so many people because there's so much different things that you can do. It's very hard to get people to be in agreement about what the game should do, or something like an event like, Outfit Wars should be. But I will say, I will give the dev team credit for as small as they are. They have progressed this. Well, crazy to think it's been, I think, 3 years now into its current version.
Yeah.
And I know there's lots of issues, but the fact that they're even able to do NC versus NC or TR versus TR, that's huge. Because there's really no excuse for everyone that was whining about NC being too good. Just play NC. I mean, everyone could have played NC at that point. So I don't think anything would have really changed, though, at least on Emerald in regards to the end result. But no, I loved it. I want it to be deeper. I want there to be a little more options in regards to the openings, and maybe not even do triple bases, because I think the momentum is so strong. There was one match where some people from Backs were playing in, and I think the triple bases went back and forth, but I don't think that happened very often. It's like once you capped, those bases, especially if you kept all 3, it was just a steamroll, Maybe a single point base would be easier to kind of have some more back and forth on. But there's so many ways you could make Outfit Wars deeper or change different things. But yeah, I liked it. I know there's a long take, but I loved it. I had a lot of fun. Obviously, I was on the winning team, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true. I liked it too. I think the 1v1 was the right way to go. Pros and cons to each one.
I mean,
you mean what? I played Desolation. I like that one.
Did you really like 1v1v1 as a competitive format, or everyone's like, it's not competitive, it's this other thing? It's like, well, then what's the point of it if we have live? And okay, it's competitive. Let's just agree on that. But there's a reason that there's literally, name another game that's a 1v1v1 that's popular, that makes money, or does it? That maybe not makes money because PlanetSide doesn't.
I can't think of one.
There's no sports team. I couldn't go to my high school and be like, well, let's play chess 1v1v1, or let's play football. It's just not a thing.
I'm not on the side of it wasn't competitive. I think it is competitive. I thought it was competitive the entire time. And
okay, competitive, yes, but not competitive in the idea that,
did it fill the competitive format of what you would expect? No, it did not.
It's not about the better team winning, or
there was always that wild card factor, like what happened to Recursion at the end.
But it has no principle. There's like no way to plan for that. There's no way. It's just right. And I know you're all about chaos, just listening to the show, but like that's not.
yeah, you got me.
That's fine, but I don't think that has a place in an event like that. In an event where it's like, hey, Aeflic, the Living Dead or something, or whatever these. Yeah, you want to have a random event, like great, but for like a tournament,
I'm glad they switched it, because that introduced a real tournament style competitive format that doesn't exist on live. To me, like, there's no reason why we shouldn't have at least that area where we do just that. I mean, why not? I mean, it's like, to me, it was like leaving money on the table when we're doing 1v1v1. That was like, it's a free.
We already have it.
You know what it is. And a lot of the player base, especially like your side of it and Lex's side and all that, y'all wanted it to be like that more because of what it afforded you. And I'm like, hey man, cool.
Well, it's not even about dude, this is the first, I think, in my entire life. I've been on a lot of sports teams. I've been on a lot of, PlanetSide teams, 6v6, whatever. ServerSmash, I guess we've won before, but like I've never really been on a team where we've actually gone all the way to like a championship and won. So I know all about losing and not playing to my advantage, or I've always been against stacking. I remember one of the 6v6s, there was like a 36-man roster, maybe it was 24-man or something like that, and like it was literally like, I'm like, you could have made 3 or 4 really good teams, and instead, out of only 6 players can play, you have like a 36-man roster, a 30-man roster of just like all good players.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like I want to win, but I'm not going to then join a team like that just to win. So I always stuck by my outfit or my group of friends, and played that way. Because like I said, I'm a loyalist, and then Bax is kind of dead in PlanetSide, and I want to play with somebody else. And Dusk asked to join another outfit, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll come with you. You've always been with me, and you still play, so yeah, I got you. But 1v1 is just, like I said, 1v1, the triple 1v1
yeah,
is on live. And honestly,
it's a replica, and it didn't even seem like it was. I
think the game would be better as a 1v1. I'm gonna say it.
I think the game would be better as a 1v1v1v1. I think they should make NSO its own faction. To me, that will solve the wildcard dilemma. You got 2 wildcards in there.
You could triple team.
You can, but how likely is that going to be? Really?
Have you met your average PlanetSide 2 player?
Yes, I have. I've only been playing with those type of people, Aeflic.
I know you have, but have you ever, it's like AOD, have you ever seen the Devil Dogs at like a prime time years ago, and maybe there was no leadership on, and what that looked like?
I can't recall a time when there was no leadership on. I mean, someone stepped up all the time.
Have you ever seen 400 players just going down the last line?
Yeah.
And you're losing everything else, but this Zerg is just doing that, or a Zerg avoiding a Zerg, World Domination Series, just stupid stuff like that. Or when population is in decline and you're playing during the day at like 1 or 2 p.m. and that was the bane of my stream existence. I play Emerald NC, VS and TR fighting up north for the first 2 or 3 hours almost every day. It was just like, I can't even get into the fight.
Well, check it though. 2v1, the 2 people who are ganging up on the one, they have that incentive to just keep on doing that. Because once they're done eating that pie, they can do whatever.
You're missing my point here is there wasn't even a fight to be had outside of just ghost capping territory. In a platoon, a squad, or 12 people at a base, or 2 platoons at a base. It was like that for like an hour or 2 sometimes. And there'd be a fight that popped up every so often because TR and VS were just duking it out up north and we couldn't get up there. And I can only beacon on a tower so many times and drop into a fight and kill people for a little bit. But it was like that on the regular. One of the biggest reasons I like 1v1 is because there's always a fight. No matter what, there will always be a fight because one of the teams can't just go off somewhere else, or they don't have access to a fight, or how many times have you gone to base and no one's ever redeployed there?
So wait, tell me, I'm not tracking anymore. Tell me what your issue is with the four-way?
Like a lobby-based shooter, a 5v5 or 6. I don't even know what they are anymore. It's like you're guaranteed, unless someone quits, obviously, but you're guaranteed to get into the lobby and play a match, and it's like you have people to fight against. But there's been a lot of times, especially if ops are like an hour or 2. This is way back in the day when people would try hard in outfits.
Oh, you're saying it would water down the fights. Okay, I got you.
Sometimes there's just no fights, and it can be like that for an hour. And it's like everyone logged on, and there's nothing to do, and it's boring, and then people start logging out. It's like for a game to thrive is you need to be able to play the game, and in this case it's an FPS, so you should be able to shoot at people.
That's fair. It might make content a little bit harder to come by
because it's just 2 teams, and it's huge. It's PlanetSide, it's huge, combined arms, yada yada yada, and it's like, yeah, there was some ghost capping. Like if it was on a live server, you just redeploy to the fight, right? Or you distribute your forces maybe a little bit differently, but
wait, all right.
1v1,
I can get behind a 1v1, but what do you do with VS?
Well, okay, yes, it'd have to be a new game. Like obviously,
no. Because we could make it whatever we want here. Do you want VS to be like another NSO thing? What other role could VS fulfill?
I mean, dude, the guns are there's so many guns in the game now that like there's almost, and I know everyone like
way too many guns.
Almost overlap on all three factions. And it's getting pretty close. Yeah, maybe Jackhammer secondary is a little, powerful, and there's some things here or there, but like for the most part, it's pretty close. And I thought faction specific weapons was cool, but it just feels bad when something's broken like Zoe Max, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because somebody gets the OP weapon until it's buffed or something, or nerfed or whatever. I don't know what you do with the factions. I don't even really care, but I just want to fight my color versus another color at the end of the day. And most of the fights are 1v1. That's the other thing. True PlanetSide,
that's true.
Outside of high level leadership, when no one even listens to each other for the most part, and then a couple leaders do. But command chat's a meme. When I found that out, it just broke my heart. I thought it was so cool. Like, there's a command chat. There's people like at a table, like, just looking at the map, and like, nope, it's just some dude being racist in the command chat, or screaming into the mic, and everyone's fighting about how slow they are. I also did that. Not the racist part.
Yeah,
but
I think it was you who said that it isn't now that where before it was, you could farm at different levels, but now everyone's farming infantry. That's where all the fighting is now.
Yeah, I'm lost in that one, but yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard to be an infantry sometimes, especially, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you got to play it like right at the right times on a certain server to get like the best fights. Because infantry is the core of the game, and that's what I like to do. I don't want to dodge air by going into the triple and running through the triple and then zigzagging into this building and then going through here. And it's like, oh, there's a tank over there, so let me navigate that. Oh, there's a max in this building. Okay, let me just try to separate these things away. You know what I mean? But back to my point, PlanetSide is, generally speaking, a 1v1. Very rarely is it a three-way fight at a base. Very rarely. Very rarely are all three factions coming together. Desolation is actually very different than live play in that regard.
I totally agree with you on that one.
We saw how poorly that played out, I guess, in a way. It really just showcased how, like, it doesn't matter if you have a better idea or strategy, not that a bunch of circles on the map provide strategy, but it's just chaos, I guess, in that. But there's no like structure around it. Without structure, it's just not very fun, in my opinion. But because then you gotta like sit back and like, okay, we don't have too much territory or like too many points, and like then we get, and then it's like, are you really playing the game? It's like, well, let's not score too many touchdowns. No, it's just like, I don't know. It just feels weird. But anyway, I like the 1v1 aspect of PlanetSide. That's generally what you play every night. Is you can bounce between the two, but you're really just fighting one faction at a time. I can count on my appendages probably how many times I've been in a true three-way fight. And I'm not talking about we have no fight, so we're going to drop our two squads at a triple base, and we're going to hold one of the points up high until we get knocked off. That doesn't count. I'm talking about a true three-way fight. Very rare. Maybe at the very beginning of PlanetSide it happened a lot more, but no.
Okay. All right. I could get behind that. I don't know.
So it never happened in PlanetSide 2 because everything's established. You can't just delete a faction. But I think the experiment has been tried. It's been tried for almost 10 years now, and it's worked out. But when you really think about it, it's like, yeah, I guess there's really no purpose of three factions in a way. And in a lot of ways, it comes to a detriment. Because if you just had 500 game is players on one side, 500 players on another side, you still have combined arms. You still have these large fights. You still have all these bases. You have this large map. But you have, it's 500 v 500, or maybe it's 600 v 550 or something like that. So there's a little bit of an imbalance. But there's no void. There's going to be fights on the map because there's only two teams that can participate. It's just something to think about. I don't know. In regards to, because you can't make it too realistic. It's not about that. It's not Arma, and even games just can't be realistic, or too realistic without having diminishing returns that really drastically affect the game. So I won't go down that tangent anymore. I'll let it go.
So when we're talking about the game, how it used to be and how it is now, it was what I was referring to is when you did your basement side with Deeg, who was in the chat just now. You had said that. Well, you were talking about combined arms, but it wasn't that. It's not that domains are fighting each other. It's that all domains are fighting infantry.
There we go. That's okay. I knew what you were talking about, but I couldn't pinpoint the exact quote, so I couldn't wrap my head around it. But yeah, dude, air for the most part doesn't really fight air. And now with Outfit Wars, it was kind of a little bit more like that with the prep phase. Like God would all pull air, and like I can't fly air, but I would pull my air and crash or get killed or whatever. Or maybe I do a little bit of damage on somebody, but we'd actually fight air at that point. But before Outfit Wars and before some of these server transfers, air really didn't fight air. The Sky Guards, Sky Knights, whatever, Chariot Boys, whatever they're called, they left once the controls got warped, and I think the lock-ons came into play, and they just got fed up with it. And how often are you at an underpopped fight trying to save a base or to cap a base and you have air support there? You don't. Where's the air support at? At that fucking fight that you're at that has 80%. It's like there's 40 infantry and there's 2 A2G and there's 10 of us and there is just 10 of us. There's no A2G helping us here or like a little bit of air like backing off the other air. And obviously I'm talking about generally speaking, right? Every so often, yeah, maybe there's some air that comes in and chases somebody off. But generally speaking,
yeah, it's usually me in the Vanguard. It's coming at me.
Okay, probably. Yeah, that's my point though. Is like very rarely are these force multipliers actually being applied how, in my opinion, they should be, right? Like, okay, we need to shift some of the resources over here, and we're gonna, spend our resources here because this is where we need it at. That's another, and we can talk about that too, but that's another issue with force multipliers is just the resource revamp phase 1 ruined a lot of the game.
Oh, where it went from individual to then combined nanite. Yeah, I don't feel like that was a positive either.
Because they're going to go to phase 2 and phase 3, and then it never happened, right? But the idea was there's going to be a short phase 1, in my opinion. I'm just making this up for short phase 1, and then they're going to readjust it into something else. What happened is like there's no timers on vehicles or maxes. Like,
there is a timer, but it's like 15 seconds for a Vanguard.
All right, well, that's not bad.
Yeah, and I know because I've died in 15 seconds in the Vanguard, and I'm like, oh wait, I've got 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, let's pull another.
I didn't know that. Interesting. So there's a short timer. Okay, but there's not.
There is a short timer. Yes.
Timer. There's not a meaningful timer.
And yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, like it was like a landmine. It blew me up right away. I'm like, okay, cool.
And like you can just pull them from wherever. Like, yeah, I'm like the tech.
True.
Like, there's too much access to everything as well. And I get that, like, that's, you don't want to be too realistic, which, okay, fine. But the thing is, the force multiplier you can't have access to all the time. And I say this in my stream, you can't have an AC 130 up or a chopper gunner up in your multiplayer lobby all the time, because then guess what? The core gameplay is affected by that, right? And it's still affected by the kill streaks, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh. But if you had those options up all the time, it would ruin the multiplayer experience.
It wouldn't be though if I can't affect you like I can nowadays. I mean, there were a lot more like the old style combined arms. I couldn't just walk up to you and shoot you at Vanu Archives like I can now. Like
and I'm in agreement. There was part of the issue for me is I was so new to FPS gaming and so blown away by PlanetSide that I didn't really think about how broken original PlanetSide was. I think like the Dalt like things killed a lot easier back then.
Oh yeah, the Dalton.
There was a lot of broken things back then.
We all hated that guy.
And I wasn't aware of it because I was just, running around my head, just blown away by everything. But there was a lot of good things about old PlanetSide. But to that quote is, yeah, like it's not the agent, like everyone's just farming. They're not actually, for the most part, helping their team. Maybe someone like you that's in a Vanguard is, but generally speaking, you're not going to the challenging fight with your force multiplier, and which is mind-boggling to me because there's really no timer outside of 15 seconds. There's no I'm gonna really bleed resources because if you're good at A2G, you can probably pull 3 or 4 times before you run out of nanites. So there's not even an excuse not to go there and help. Yeah, like you more than likely you just get shoot away by light arms or lock-ons and whatnot. So you couldn't really do A2G or whatever it is that you're trying to do, or be a tank or something because there's too much pop there. But the fact that people don't even try is just interesting to me.
Well, it sounds like it's just a pop issue then.
Well, it's like, no, it's not. It's not. It's just it's surfing. It's surfing, but in a vehicle or a max.
Well, I mean,
don't think I've ever actually thought about it like that.
If there was 48 fights across every base, how then? What problem do we have now? What problem for combined arms exists?
That's true, but that's part of the issue with 1v1v1 is.
Yeah, those fights are spread out across 1, 2, 3 fronts.
Right, and like a fight, and with and there's just the game is so deep, like with redeploy side and how that changed everything. Because I remember getting picked up in a galaxy all the time, dude, and now that's just gone. I redeploy right, and I hop into a new fight.
Yeah. That to me, that lost a lot of the game. Is when you
Well,
no longer had to pull gals to go wherever you need to go.
I love that, and I love redeploy side now. I could not live without it, right? But I miss that old school kind of gal pickup. That like really immersed the game for me.
Yeah.
But as a tank player, you really can't go from the TR front all the way to the Vanu front. And if you are able to do that and it goes back to the TR front, you're so slow and it takes so long. And maybe you could redeploy and then pull a tank from somewhere, and like you could keep that going for a little bit. But it's just not. That's another thing with 1v1v1. It's like if it was just 1v1 and like you had like an established kind of front line with just one faction and a little more balance around that in regards to, okay, maybe it's 45, 55 or something, population or something, a little bit, or not, maybe not 10%, but something like 2% in favor of one faction or something, whatever. You could have a little more of an established like line there and have a little more of these, maybe not balanced fights, because Pop's gonna do what Pop's gonna do. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like as infantry, like I choose to go. I'm not surfing most of the fights. If there's no other fights, I will surf a fight because that's the only fight I can get. I'm not gonna not go to a fight because I have Pop there. And most of the time, I'm fighting over Pop. In my opinion, if I'm in a building and there's 3 enemies in that building and there's me in that building and I have 80% Pop in the hex, and maybe not that much. Maybe it's 60-40, and I don't have a bunch of like tanks and shit shelling like the spawn, and I can fight those 3 players, I am in an overpop situation. I'm inside of a building, you're inside of a building, it's 3 infantry versus 1 infantry. You can look at the pop all you want and use it as an excuse, but in that building,
but it ain't helping you there.
So, but my point is, I'm not surfing infantry fights unless I have to. It's I'm going to challenging fights, or taking a squad to challenging fight, or in gobs, as an outfit, we're going to challenging fights, and we want that pop because that's what we like, right? But then like a lot of the vehicle players, it's almost exclusive surfing. Literally almost exclusive surfing, especially A to G. Because I couldn't count on my fingers, literally, probably not even on 2 hands, how many times I've had air support at a fight that I've been massively overpopped at or underpopped.
Yeah.
Trying to cap a base. It's like, oh my God, thank God these 2 guys came in to help us out. And that doesn't happen. It's like, oh, look at this asshat, this trash can. They can't fight somewhere else. Is going to be at this fight and also add to what I have to deal with. You know what I mean?
I feel like that used to happen a lot more. I don't really know why. I don't feel like it happened anymore.
What do you mean? The help?
Well, yeah, I feel like the help was there.
Outfits are pointless. There's no reason to be in an outfit. There's no advantage to being in an outfit. It's all
outfit resources.
Well, okay, yeah, maybe that now, but I was even like before, kind of like the outfit revamp came out and like Outfit Wars, and like I never thought about it. I was like, there's no reason to be in an outfit. I don't gain anything. Like, yeah, the community and whatnot, but the community's there already now without these things. Just people with their own single outfit and they're friends with this guy and me and whatnot. It doesn't matter. They're still in the Discord or whatnot. There's no point to being in an outfit. And I think once the midfits left, even like elite fits like AC like just dying out, right? Or future crew and whatnot. Like there's just not enough outfits that are going to be able to read the map and help out and go there. Most single players that aren't good at the game are going to look at that fight and be like, I'm not going to go to an 80-20. I don't even know if there's not even spawn there. They're already tucked in on the point.
That's right.
But back in the day,
I can't even click to spawn.
Exactly. Back in the day, we had a midfit or multiple midfits. It's like, oh yeah, we can toss 2 squads there. I bet that's backs because they're the only other decent outfit on NC, or maybe Camel or something or whatever. But there's just that. There's not a lot of outfits left that are at that caliber. And midfit was a caliber that was decent enough to read the map, move, go to fights that they are needed at, or to start good fights. That kind of fell away.
So yeah, it doesn't feel like the combined arms thing is really achievable nowadays.
Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of that is because of 1v1v1, and I don't think combined arms is that bad. But I think you need to have resources tuned specifically. Maybe bring timers back. The problem is, you really should probably have faction resources, but then there's always going to be people that are going to be sucking those resources dry from the faction. And then it's okay, well, then you can do outfit resources, but then not everyone's in an outfit. So it's like, how do you act? I mean, it's very complicated, but the current system is trash, and you can't have force multipliers up 24/7. It's just not a good thing. Because you should be scared to lose your tank as opposed to, oh, I lost it. I'll pull another one. I don't mind them
I
even
am scared to
upping
lose my tank. What do you mean? I can't pull this thing for forever. Especially if I...
Actually, you... Okay, when's the last time that you were unable to pull your Force Multiplier for a significant amount of time? Exactly.
It was... Well, hold on. I had a VOD the other day where the C4 flashes were just really hard. It was like a week ago when I was using the JGX, and they just kept on destroying me like every 2 minutes, and I ran out of resources.
And how long was it until you could pull again?
Like, I don't know, a few minutes.
Exactly my point.
But I've got ASP and I've got module working for me, so it makes every
10 years. Not everyone has that for the most part.
No.
Yeah,
Putting out an ASP on your main battle tank.
Okay, but if you're gonna play tank most of the time, that's my point.
Yeah. That's true. It's the
good people. Like if I'm an HUG, no one has to be worried. I will kill myself. You will not get killed by me. I have like 3 air hammer kills. Maybe not even that. That's probably too far.
Yeah, and if I'm using a JGX on the Lightning, then that ASP and module puts it down to 150. So I almost never run out of resources.
Or you're like, oh, I'll just pull a Lightning this time. You can. That's my point. Is you can almost stay up 24/7 if you want to, and very rarely have you been down a significant amount of time. And even if you were for a couple minutes, like you just said, it's like that happened last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's like that. And then it was a month before, and then that's my
true.
point. Is like there's no real risk involved. Like what in. That's what I'm saying. There's no like thought around it. Like Outfit Wars had that because you could actually bleed resources, but even then, I think it was probably a little too high.
Well, to me, that's why I think it's just a pop issue. Because if I'm in the tank all the time, and there is a full enemy pot full of people who are in tanks all the time, I'm focusing on the tank, man. I'm not focusing on little old you running from building to building. I don't care about you. I care about that big ass king snake coming at me.
Well, right, and I think there's.
And if I die, I want to get right back in it. I don't want to wait 15 minutes like I used to.
Also true. But it's not just a tank game. It's not just an air game. Like those are things that add value, or they are better than your solo infantry player. Like a good A-to-G pilot and a good infantry player, the A-to-G wins, right? A good tanker and a good infantry player, the tank wins. Like in a straight up one.
Sure. It's a problem now. Like you said, all domains are focused on infantry because the fights aren't there anymore. But you get me in a big fight with a tank battle, I am not worried about infantry, man. Not unless they're dessing me from some mountaintop or something. Then I gotta focus on them. But I'm worried about that king snake. I'm worried about that Larian. I'm worried about that Colossus over there trying to hit me with its Skylands. Like,
and I think that base design is another issue. But there's too many bases. There's 400 bases or something, dude.
So when I have to wait 15 minutes, then congratulations. I'm a suckier version than you for the next 15 minutes right now.
The core gameplay is infantry.
Is it though?
Like, yeah.
For you?
No. But think about the core. Think about at any given time on any server at any day or whatever, the majority of players are going to be in infantry. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the core gameplay.
That doesn't make it the core gameplay. That just makes it the most accessible gameplay.
Well, it's because that's the bar. Is like you spawn in as infantry, and then you can choose outside of that.
I see all 3 of them as the core gameplay. If you're not air, if you're not vehicles,
you can specialize. But the fact of the matter is, a heavy assault versus a heavy assault tip outside of skill has a fair playing field, and maybe outside of weapon, if you had to choose a bad weapon against maybe a better weapon or something. But majority of the time, an infantry versus infantry is an equal playing field. And anytime you go outside of that, there should be some sort of cap to it. Because when you're talking about, if I had other tanks to fight and I'd just be fighting other tanks, well, yeah, but then that's just World of Tanks. That's not combined arms nature of PlanetSide. You have to have balance around that. You have to, especially when the bases are all, majority of them open. They have windows and doors and the points are small and you're trying to cram 2 squads, and it's like, where do I stand without getting killed by a tank or A to G? When you can just, even if I kill you, you can just repull again. It's like it's the Zyros issue for me at the biolabs when they were instant spawns. Okay, I'm attacking a base. I'm trying to cap the base. I have a 3-minute timer. Let's just say at the biolab. Maybe it's shorter. I can't remember. Let's say it's a 3-minute timer. I have to go. There's what, 4 spawns at a biolab. If I have one of them, maybe I don't even have one. I'm just attacking from a pad. Let's just say I have one. There's 3 other spawns. If I'm trying to get to A point, and I'm going through Powerhouse, across the bridges to Crescent, and Zyros's main spawn is that teleporter right outside Crescent. You know what I'm talking about? At the biolab.
Mm-hmm.
If I kill Zyros into the Powerhouse, by the time I get to the bridge, maybe just entering the Crescent, he's already in Crescent again. Like, I have to kill him then yet again. And chances are, as I'm going to the A point, either left or right, he can spawn in. He's either going to be behind me, or I have to then kill him again, or he's in the spawn room looking for me, right? So like, even like killing a good player, like a biolab, like then I have to like kill him again, and then probably kill like 10 or 15 other players to then get to the point. And I know you're probably like, well, what the fuck are you even talking about?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get it.
There's no risk reverse reward. It's like I shoot you with my Destiny, I get a good shot, you're back. Now
I get what you're saying. That's a good point. That's a good point.
At least the bases should be better designed so you can't. There's places where you can get me, but for the most part, like I get to fight other infantry on the point.
All right, man. All right. I dig that. I don't like it because it means you're putting a restriction on me, but I can get behind that.
Well, that's where the skill comes in, right?
Because as soon as you kill me,
even if you had the cap, but you don't need a 20-minute timer. But maybe it's like, okay, if I lose my tank, it's gonna be like 3 minutes before I have the resources to pull again. Like, and yeah, I get that. Like, that restricts you. But okay, when I'm just trying to defend a base against 80 to 20%, like that's technically a restriction against me. Like, if you want to look at it like that, like there's restrictions on a lot of different things all over the map.
Yeah. And to me, the easy fix is don't put a timer. Don't do that. What you should do is increase the cost again. Like me pulling up, what I call it my 245 plates. It takes, with an Aspen module, I can pull a main battle tank for 225.
Insane.
I mean, easy day. So if you were to maybe make that ass 10% instead of 20, and the module's half of its value, it's gonna suck for me because I know I'm gonna have to play a little bit smarter each time, and I can't play aggressive. But also,
think how smart I have to play the game as an infantryman.
I don't have to play as smart.
And I think this gets lost in translation all the time, but everyone only thinks about Aeflic or Lex and like, yeah, whatever, dude. F you. Dude, you know how many times I'm spawning in at 2080? It's not just me, bro. There's a bunch of noobs behind me that are getting shat on, can't leave the spawn, dunked on over and over and over and over again. You want to talk about new player experience, you want to talk about longevity, you want to keep talking about people playing the game. I'm still here, but how many of those players are still here?
Yeah.
Maybe they join the other faction.
They're lost in the sauce.
That's my thing. Is like, how good of the game is? It's not good gameplay though. That's my point. And like, I might get that lucky Destiny shot. I might know how to traverse the base where I can get away from most things most of the time, or die twice and then I'll try something else. But a lot of those players, they don't. They're not going to hit the Destiny shot. They're not even gonna know that to pull out the Destiny. They're going to try to get their lock on that takes way too long with a Hawk or whatever the fuck it is, and they're going to get it mowed down. Like, that's my point. Is like, I can at least navigate this to a degree, but your other players at those fights, they can't.
So what's your expectation of them, or what? I mean, yeah. What can they do about this then?
Nothing. Get better. Hope that they get good at some point. I mean, what else can they do? Maybe they don't want to be a tanker, so they got. But my point is, like,
maybe make Maxis free. I don't know.
It's an issue all the way around, though. It's not just like, well, I can't get in my tank as much as I am able to right now. It's like, dude, yeah, and the other people that you're dunking on or getting dunked on by other players in these things is not very fun. At least people have a fair shot against me. I'm a super aggressive player. I hold Shift W. That's why I don't get Hackers all that much, is because I'm too aggressive and I die too much. And I get a lot of kills too, but like I don't play like the head, like glitch angle, like all that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that patient. So like my point is, like, it's a fair playing field against an infantry player. Yeah, I'm better, I guess, than most players at infantry, but I don't know.
So Other than base design, because I think Ashley said in the chat, higher walls. I agree with that. Make it hard for me to shoot you in the walls, man. Yeah. It makes it a little bit less realistic, but I mean, at the expense of me headshotting people all the time with AP or heat, I'm for that.
I wanted larger bases. The problem is, what's the newest facility?
The containment site?
Yeah, they're trash. I don't know. They're too confusing. Even with the arrows, and it's like I never know where I'm at, and the fights are always so far apart. And maybe that'd be an issue with the large facilities or these large bases that are more enclosed, not caves.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the cave system though? Because I can't remember which base has that now, but
Ascent has that, and it plays pretty good. I mean, they're just choke pointy prone. When you have 200 players or 300 players at a fight, or you have a max.
Yeah.
I kill the max, and then there's 8 guys behind. I can kill 8 players, but I can't kill 8 players in a max, generally speaking, because he'll just get rezzed and then repped. That's another thing. It's like, could you imagine if your tank died, and then an engineer could just repair your tank back? It's just crazy. Like, there's just again, risk and reward. Like, it's just weird. But anyway,
so I agree with you about the containment site though. That thing is confusing as hell.
So maybe not so much the tier of it, and everything just takes time to learn. But that's part of the problem with Lattice, is like very hard to get to these bases, and if they're not fun, I'm not going to fight there very often. Therefore, I'm never going to learn it. And then they're only on specific, maps or whatnot, and it just makes it hard to learn a base. But I just think, generally speaking, base design needs to be better. Old Esamir is my favorite map. They revamped it. It's trash. I hate it. Very, very upset about it.
Yeah, I agree. No one ever goes up there in the north anymore.
We haven't even learned base design. Another issue with 1v1v1. Some bases are great to attack from the south. Some bases are really, that same base is very, very difficult to attack from the north, based on the spawn. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to do all these things in a 1v1, let alone a 1v1v1, and to balance it around that. And so, like, again, another example of why 3 factions is maybe not the best idea, because it complicates everything and it makes for bad gameplay. But resource revamp, base design. It's like, how do you design a base for a 3-way fight? How do you design a base for defenders with 80% pop or attackers with 80% pop? How do you design a base for 12v12, 6v6, 50v50, 200v200, or 400 versus 100? How do you design a base like that?
How does anybody do that? Because aren't we the only game that really does that, though?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. These challenge is very challenging to get right. But the thing is, you got to look at the bases that work well. And then
which bases do work well? How about that?
Tech plants.
Yeah.
And again, you got to try.
Wait, new tech plant or old tech plant?
You talking about the Esmer tech plant?
Trash. Okay, yeah, Esmer tech plant is old tech plant. Not like the Amrish tech plants. They're the new ones.
Amrish tech plant.
Like Makala.
Okay, you do like old school, like where there was no primary balcony, like the game came out and there's just grinder doors. Okay, terrible.
And then like the now partition, like 3-part thing with the overhangs and like the vehicle tunnel ways.
I'm just gonna say 2 years ago, that tech plant. We're on the same page.
Yeah, so that's Esamir. Esamir tech plant.
The original Esamir middle tech plant was. I love that the tech plant was the focus of the map. It was a single point. I like the idea, and tech plants kind of do this. I like the idea of trading space for time and like slowly falling back, or like having a little bit more.
What does that mean? I don't really know what that means. Trading space for time.
Like, okay, we're not going to sit on the point. We're going to go to Powerhouse, and we're going to play from Powerhouse. And as we lose Powerhouse, aka the SU at there, then we're going to fall back to Crescent. And from Crescent, we'll fall back to the point. I like the idea of, because fights end very fast. Majority of fights end very fast. I like the idea of a little more tug of war. Like, and I talked about this a lot, actually. I even talked about this with Rel, and this is why you got to just try things. Instead of going, well, we need a cool new base with like a weird texture and like a new thing here and a new server box over here, and like we just want to make it unique. It's like, okay, fuck that. Let's just try new ideas around like how fights can flow. Like the triple amp stations You cap the point, you get a hard spawn. I love it. But instead of a circle, roughly a circle, make it more linear. I spawn in, maybe we pull Sunny up to a garage, we grab the A point, now we have a spawn a little bit behind us, but not as far as the bus.
It's a literal tug of war.
And we go for, but the fights would last maybe a little bit longer that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because you really only have one direction, and then it just becomes like that.
Natural progression, and it's like not so steamrolly sometimes at fights either.
That's almost like a battlefield system. The way,
I don't even know how you'd work it out with. I don't even know. And again, on the 1v1v1, I think it's difficult to build bases like that. But maybe
that's true.
Maybe not, but it's worth an idea. And they never really experimented beyond the triple amp stations in regards to hard spawns like that, because when you're attacking a base without massive overpop, you just can't defend your spawns.
Yeah, Ashley said intra base lattice. What do you think about that?
It's too complicated, I think, but I watched some videos a long time ago about it. I think, I get what you're saying. Like you cap this. I mean, like that's what the old biolabs used to kind of be like. You would take the exterior
when they lock. Okay.
Well, you'd get like that base, and then you have the teleporter, and like you could kind of go to the next base and grab a teleporter. You could kind of, and I hate biolabs sometimes, is because years ago, not everyone realized what they were farming wise. And most players don't even farm there; they just go there thinking they're going to farm there. But like, you could cut. Like, there's little strategies. Okay, we're going to grab this teleporter because this teleporter is this building and it gives us best access. And then we're going to maybe go over to the second one over here, or maybe we're just going to blitzkrieg into the bio. If that doesn't work, then we'll grab the rest of the satellites and then we'll attack it from all the angles. And there's very few bases that have any type of strategy like that. If that makes sense. Like and that's not even very deep. But like I like a little bit more of like, how can we do something that's not expected to where we can gain an advantage outside of just pop or force multipliers? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of prep a base, or you can kind of like, I don't know. And that's kind of why I like, and that's the same thing with tech plants. They added the primary balcony, and I didn't know for, I swear to God, like a year where DA was coming from and how they're getting back in the fight. Because they added the doors in the way back that overlook the big gun all the way on the opposite side. I don't think those used to be there. Like, there used to be the gen up there, but like they added that, and like I didn't even know about it. You could drop it, and like it was like this mystery, and not everyone knows about it, right? So everyone preps for that push, right? But back in the day, DA would drop there, and like they would just crush through you. You're like, what the heck just happened? It's like there was like a little bit like kind of like secrets almost, and things that some players didn't know. Like everyone knows the wall jumps now, and like how to get, like everyone just knows everything about the game. That there's very little like room for even like new maps or bases. It's kind of like, no, I mean, we for the most part it's straightforward once you like know where this door takes you. You know what I mean? There's not like you can grab a generator here and like extend a bridge here and like have a new front open up, or like I don't know. And it just doesn't feel like there's, like I said, the tug of war of like, or like what's it called? Small gains. I can't even think of the bigger word because I'm an idiot. I have it in my mind. I just can't pronounce it, I guess. Like that fight of like, we're taking this little bit of space and now we have this, and then like, okay, we have, and then we're going to move forward to this, and like, oh, we got pushed back off of that, but like, we'll
incremental progress. That tug of war you said.
Yes. Like I like that sometimes too, because the fights are just over so fast. And then like once you have 4 maxes on the point, I'm just using this as an example. It's like, okay, and then my spawn's too far back because like this is the only place that this base and spawn can be. It's like the fight's done. It's done. There's no chance of capping this base now. Like you can kind of slug it out and get some kills or something if there's no other fights. Otherwise, redeploy them to try something else. Like, but it hits that peak so fast. Like, I feel like most bases probably have 20-30 seconds of good fighting, and then it's done. Massive overpop comes in, it's wiped off. Maybe even less than that. I don't even know what the really good amount of time is on a base.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a Vanguard the whole time.
It's just things to think about, though. I don't know, and that's why it's so important that the devs play the game, and maybe they do. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just unique in these opinions and thoughts, but
I don't think so. 10 years. Anethul in chat and Ashley are having a good conversation. It sounds pretty similar to what you were saying and what I'm saying.
Like, do you remember Suit, the outfit?
Suit,
SUIT. From Emerald TR. They were They did like super small, but really like organized, really good communication. Super small though, and they would cap a lot of bases against massive overpop. They really nitpick the game. Kind of reminds me of Goblins a little bit, but Goblins also has a bunch of like really good players and really good medics and like. But
you keep saying that word. They have a lot of medics, huh? Is that their secret?
Not maybe not. When I say a lot of good medics, I'm talking about like at any given time, like having 2 medics that are good is like it's night and day difference. It feels like there's 30 medics around you. It feels like you're in overpop sometimes. It's insane. I'm not saying they have like 30 medics on or something like that. You know, they're not even spamming medics, but the idea of like, I don't know, I just like that type of objective gameplay where there's a lot of communication, you get a lot of kills, you cap the base or you get close to capping the base, and it's not just we're all hunkered on point and then like can we hold it and we die, okay, we got the base, great, or no, we're knocked off, but like, okay, we're holding like the left side, you know, we kind of get pushed back and maybe we're losing the left side, so we're going to send a couple guys over there to like I don't know, I just want a little more dynamic fights in regards to bases themselves, and like getting a foothold somewhere to then launch something. Like I don't know, I just don't feel like
a little more complexity to it rather than just like 2 + 2 = 4. Now we got the base.
There's very little, and even that's how Outfit Wars felt. It's like
that was my biggest critique of it this year. Desolation didn't feel like that. This year it felt like it was super simple, super redundant. But
on the ground, it didn't necessarily feel like that. I mean, obviously I was in a really good outfit that played, but it played well. I mean, dude, we fought recursion. Like, I mean, yeah, you can say we warp gated them, but even both matches, some of those bases came down to a second. Multiple bases came, especially like in the opening. Granite Head very, very close a couple times. They almost capped it like 3 or 4 times. That was a fun match. I don't know, maybe it wasn't fun for recursion, but it felt like it was fun. I guess there wasn't a lot of those, but we didn't get to fight the V-Cats. But yeah, I don't know how you add complexity to it. I don't think Desolation. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm trying to go with that. I wish there was a little more than just redeploy here, redeploy there, drop here. It's just it's almost too fast.
Bring routers back. Bring them back.
Yeah. I'm very curious if you could do data and like look at like a good player, a good outfit, and just see how much time is spent traveling, waiting for pop to show up at a base. Like how much time is actually good fighting, and how much time like okay, I played for an hour and like I had 5 minutes of like actually shooting at like a real fight. Like, okay, it's 50-50 or maybe it's 60-40, which, you know, obviously a little more overpop is good, right? I think that's 50-50 for good players is not a good fight. So maybe it's 60-40, and I'm able to actually kill, and there's enough players there for me to actually shoot and not spawn camp. And there's a little bit of tug of war, I die, get res, you know, and like they maybe push the crescent and then we push them out of it. Like those fights happen so few and far between. It's like, I don't know.
There is a way to do that, and if I had full control of stats, I'd be looking for kills, revives, and then there is a way to do that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a lot of games are like that, right? There's a lot of prepping and this and that, and maybe that's a fine thing to have in PlanetSide, but it felt like old PlanetSide had more of that, and maybe that's just because I was new to the game, and maybe I was sitting in overpop, but there was no population, right, on the hexes, so you never knew. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough one to solve, but you kind of got me thinking about the 1v1.
There's so much potential with the game, though, because there's no other game like it. And it's ruined many games for me. Everyone whines about, hey, you never play any other games. Like, dude, you guys barely play other games. You play a game for a week and it's the next game. And it's like week after week after week. I was like, dude, I can barely want to install games, let alone like.
Yeah.
And I've told this story before, but like once I find something I like, I get involved. Like I've never had a gaming console. All my friends always did, and like in college and stuff, I'd always play with them. And just because once your keyboard and mouse, it's hard to learn something when you're older.
It is hard to go back.
Be competitive, like without like going all in. I don't know. Anyway,
so how, were you always FPS though?
No, RTS. I started Age of Empires. I remember my dad bought Age of Empires, and we were just little kids watching over his shoulder. And like it's so funny when he plays games. Like he just didn't understand like how to do anything in the game, and then like finally he had built like a barracks or something. Like he was just building like random buildings. Like you build a barracks and it had a clubman come out finally. And I swear to God, like these like knights came in with like gold armor and just like slaughtered all of his villagers and his one clubman, and it was like the game was over. I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy.
What just happened? Yeah.
Then I played Empire Earth, Rise of Nations, Command and Conquer.
We play a lot of the same games.
Yeah. And then 5 years ago, I watched my first StarCraft 2 tournament, and I was blown away. Like I realized that I'd never played RTSs, competitively, or even probably correctly ever. We did a bunch we're like the don't rush for 20 minutes. Let me build my army up and let me get that's what I used to do, with my friends and my family. And then I played Combat Arms. The fuck out of Combat Arms with my brother and some friends.
What's Combat Arms? FPS?
Just an FPS game on the PC. And then it was just played with hackers, and I was actually really good at it. And then I think PlanetSide came out. Maybe I did a little bit of MMO, a little bit of Risk Your Life was my. I think I played WoW a little bit, but I didn't get into it. I liked Risk Your Life. Did that a little bit in college. Like you could like forever upgrade your gear, and I liked that. I understand how that's pay to win now, but wasn't thinking about that back then.
Yeah,
and it was so cool, man. Just the idea of like just forever upgrade. Like you can just keep going with the game. Like I just remember like some of these players like were literally gods, dude. It's like, dude, can I see your gear? Dude's name was Bruce. He's an attacker. I just remember looking at his arm, dude. I was like, oh my God, you're a sword. I'm like, holy fuck, this is insane. And then we would play with him on, he was on my team, and then we would like go to these war zones, and like, it was I liked the game. I don't know what it was about that game, but I liked it. I spent a lot of time in that, and I hate MMOs because I hate leveling up. I hate kiting hordes in a fucking circle to kill them down for hours and hours and hours and hours, then to go to the war zone. Bitch, let me in the war zone and do it that way. I don't know, but I played a little bit of everything, but I've only really been competitive in maybe PlanetSide, and that took like 5 years, dude. So
when you got to PlanetSide, you said you started out as Skyguard. How did you go from there to being an anchor man?
Oh man, how did I even get to the anchor? I was racing Kabai from TIW.
You were racing him?
Yeah, I don't even remember how. This has been so long.
Like Flash race?
The most or something. I think we were going to race to 100,000. No, we were going to race to 100,000 kills. I can't even, dude. Honestly, it's been so long and I have so many kills now. I can't remember. And I think he like got bored or something. He quit, or he just wasn't playing as much. I think I beat him. Maybe he beat me first. I can't remember. Dude, I've used that gun for so long. I don't even remember the story behind that.
So was it just like a slow optimization, and you narrowed it down to anchors the best one? Like what even made the anchor the anchor? What was the whole point of that?
Years ago, I am not a numbers guy, and like I'll look at like pretty much somebody else from my outfit or friend group will be like, hey, no, this update came out. These are the changes. This weapon is no longer viable. This weapon is viable. Okay, thank you. I cannot look at that stuff and figure it out. But it was Anchor, MSW, Beetlejuice, or Orion for the longest time, right? Those are the holy trinity. I play NC all the time. I'm super aggressive. I love the before they made the changes, but there was the advanced laser sight. I love having the flexibility of the advanced laser sight for hipfire. But then also the flexibility. It was just the best gun. Before I think it was Zyros, maybe it was Greg, a couple people tried the laser saw. That was game changer for me, and I spent a lot of time. Right when I got the golden anchor, I went to the laser saw, because the 100 rounds, like I could kill 10, 12, maybe up to 15 people if I was lucky and shooting really, really good. A lot of that's hip fire, so you miss a lot, but my point is like adding 50 more rounds for the fights that I was in against Overpop was game changing in regards to what I could do at that fight with, because a lot of the time I just die when I was reloading. But with the laser saw, like my uptime, and it extended my ability. But before that came around, it was just, that was the holy trinity. I played NC, so that was the best gun at the time, or that's what I was told, so that's what I used. Somebody told me, this was on my way to 100,000 anchor kills. Somebody told me that the GG22S was the best gun. It was better than the anchor. I switched to that for 10,000 kills. And they're like, and then someone's like, dude, no, absolutely not. And I knew it didn't feel right to me. And some people love the GG22S, so it's more opinion based. So I wasted 10,000 kills on that gun. That's what I think I was at like 60,000 anchor kills, and I was so mad because I was like, I could have 70,000 right now. It takes a long time to get 10,000 kills, even when you're good.
I mean, yeah.
Because
How
you
many
can't-
thousands of kills do I have? 20, right?
I can't log on to Connery.
I have
And
20,000
go-
kills after 10 years.
Well, then you know my pain. I can't log on to Connery because they have fights on NC and get anchor kills that count towards my anchor, right? I have to play NC and I have to play on Emerald, and if the best fights are on TR and the farms on TR, doesn't matter. I have to play with the fights I had. If I was gonna go for these kills. But yeah, that's why I used it, and then when I got in the tournaments, anchor was still super powerful. A couple people or outfits were using the saw. But I like the flexibility and the faster play I was getting with the anchor.
What about it makes it faster?
So the saw is a little bit slower. Like I think the draw time is probably slower. Obviously the reload slower if you ever get down to that. It just plays a little differently. Like saw is more like you have more range. Anchor I can be a little more fast paced. The advanced laser sight. I'm not a numbers guy, so I can't really break it down. I just know
Are you using the scope or are you using the laser sight? Hip fire.
Both.
Oh, okay.
Depends on the situation. Right? I might come in and laser dude in the head with the scope with the 1x, and then I got I know I got those two guys coming around that corner. At my peripheral, I know they're coming. I can feel that. I know I have a little bit of time. As long as I laser dude in front of me, then I can just go hit fire the other two. Or maybe there's a guy on my left and a guy on my right and a guy in the middle. I kill the guy in the middle. Then I gotta it's just a feeling. I realized I can't really train anybody because everything's a feeling. I'm like, I don't even know how much I burst. I don't even know if I burst. I just do it. I don't even know. It's all a feeling. And like at almost 300,000 anchor kills between the two, it's just muscle memory at this point. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that I was trying to when I was doing my VODs the other day for the first time. I think I was trying to explain how to fire heat rounds and cover for the arc on the tick marks, and I was having the hardest time. Like, how do I explain this? I just know if I'm angled, I know how to make that isosceles. I know if you are on the mountaintop, I know I need to go like a half a tick up more than normal. Like, how do you explain that? And I'm sitting here like shooting randomly, and it looks like I'm missing all the time. I'm like, no, I need to go left. So that's how I would explain it. And I'm like, in real time, it makes me look like a moron. But it's
sometimes when I start thinking about it, I can't even replicate it.
Yeah.
Until I'm just in the moment. So I realize I can't really I'm not a good like trainer or like explaining things to people when it comes to that type of stuff, because I don't know. I just do it. The reason I think I came back to the game, I started streaming. Streaming really helped me play and like get me excited to actually continue to play the game. Nothing else. Games have been trash for so long. Only a couple games, Blackout 2, I think, whatever. A couple BRs have taken me away. Apex. Just a couple games here or there have taken me away from PlanetSide. Now I usually always come back. But I remember I wanted to grind something for a long time. People said that they only gave Gilly the last golden gun, or maybe that was the only golden gun. I was like, you know what? He got 100,000 on that. I'm gonna go for 200,000 on, or maybe I went for 100,000, and then everyone tweeted and maybe even reddited at Rel to give me a golden anchor. I don't think he said anything. Maybe he memed about it or joked about it. Nothing happened. I said, fuck it. I'll go for 2. I'll go for 200,000 and we'll see what happens. Got 2, nothing. I said, fuck it. I'll go for 3. I'll go for 300,000, bro. I'll go for 300. If you don't give it to me at 300,000, we got a problem. Because at that point, I think I've earned it. And I was racing Mentis. I think he was. And again, I say racing, but in my head, I'm just like, I'm racing you without reaching out to you. It's just like I don't know. So I'm racing him, but maybe he doesn't even know. Maybe other people are telling him, whatever. I talk about it on my stream. But his playtime was just, I had better, I think, KPM, but his playtime was higher and it was very difficult to keep up. And I think Liam was born, and then I slowed way down, but I was trying to keep up. But anyway, I think he beat me to 300,000. But I mean, obviously, I was only at 221, right? Or I'm at 221 right now. And then I just remember Rel teleporting me to the amp station. He's like, I have a gift for you. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? This is crazy. And then he
teleported you to the amp station.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just playing the game. He just teleported me to an amp station, or maybe I was at the amp station. He just teleported me to the top. And like, but I didn't know it was Rel at first. I was like, what the fuck's going on? This is a hacker. I literally thought it was a hacker at first. And then I was like, then I saw the golden anchor. I was like, oh my, no way. Because he like didn't even like, I didn't even know what was happening. Because again, it was at 221,000. It wasn't like I was at 300,000 or I'd just gone over 200.
Yeah.
And It was. I mean, it was one of the. It was an apex moment for me for sure. Because there's a lot of time on the anchor, man. And I remember feeling a little defeated though, because I was hoping it would be a skin over my current anchor, so I could continue because that was my goal, man. I was well into it at 80,000 or so more to get to 300,000, and it sucked the wind out of my sails after the kind of hype died down for me, because I had to restart. It was like, which one do I use? I have 221,000, a random number, or I have 0. I was like, well, I can't be disrespectful to Rel. He made the gun for me, so I think I started using that.
Is that the service anchor?
Yeah, but it was hard. It was very hard to restart.
Yeah, I see that. Your playtime is 64
in,
days with the anchor, and it's 15 days with the service anchor.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was using the anchor when I was in VCO though. Like, when I was Zerk, you know what I mean? Like, I was using that.
Okay.
Granted, I wasn't very good, so maybe it was even probably an insignificant amount of kills, but but it just kind of, like I said, it just I think I quit the game because there was so much momentum and so much hype. Like, just me. I'm not even. I'm acting like all these people were like cheering me on or something, but it was just like me. I mean, there were some people that were, were maybe, because it just takes so long. It just takes so long. So it's like, you might be along for the journey a little bit here and there and asking how's it going or something. But like, to me, it was just like, this is a grind. And then like, it was like, I didn't know what to do. I got the gun. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure I quit at that point, and I had to take a break. And now I've been using a little bit more of that in the saw. I think I'm actually just exclusively back to the anchor. But anyway, all right, that was a long.
No, it's all good. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, is it just something that you feel and you do, or do you have like some sort of methodical play that you?
Well, you gotta remember that, like, I mean, literally, we're a month away from 10 years. That's a long time. Most games don't live that long. You can say PlanetSide is dead. I mean, regardless, I've been playing. This is the only game I've been playing that long. So I'm not even talking about a genre. I'm talking about one game for 10 years, which is insane. And when your outfit's dead, or no one's really playing it, or they're on a different faction, or realistically, I was also playing during like the day, so it's like nobody was really on. And like, the stream really helped me, like I said, play the game, because there's a lot of interaction with people, because I'm a big personality person. I had to talk to people, but I needed a long-term goal. So that was my long-term goal. I was like, I'll just get a bunch of kills with a weapon, and that helped me continue to play the game, because like, I don't want to. The fights might be boring, or then maybe there's no fights, but I had to stream and I had to chat, and like, I had a pretty active chat. And sadly, I couldn't gain momentum off of it just because of real life things, but that kept me going. And then obviously, like, the goal of the long-term goal of getting the kills. So I had an excuse to get through tough times during the day when there's no fights, or I had to be an overpop fight. And like, I'm sorry, I'm just getting these 3 anchor kills and I'm gone, King. My bad, bro. Sorry. It's good. If there's a better fight, I'd be at it.
Well, you are still the only person in the whole game who's got it. 56,000 kills, though. It's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I realized that the other day. And the issue is, if I hadn't gone to the laser saw, I would have 100,000 on the anchor. I mean, I have 64,000 on the saw. I'm closer to that. Then I thought about just getting 100k on the saw and then 100k on the service anchor, but we'll see. And then I went Reaper DMR, I think, for a little bit on medic, because someone said I couldn't play medic, and I realized that I think medic was better at the time, and I was just dunking people as medic, only exclusively combat mech. I think I had like 3 revives. I just forgot.
What are you playing nowadays? Are you heavy assault still, or are you medic?
Oh, heavy assault.
Heavy. Okay.
Love it. And then I fucked up, and somebody got me on the jackhammer for Outfit Wars, and then I used it too much. I don't know. I had one or two good games with it in Outfit Wars, and then and a couple times on live, and then I'm acting like it's I can shoot people from farthest reaches with it, and you cannot. Like, and then the second match I played poorly against Recursion. I think I overused it when I should have used my service anchor, or just the anchor, and I would have played a lot better. But I should only use it when there's the revive battles. I would have been better, but maybe I even top fragged in that game. But I get too narrow minded, man. Like, I never use the different tabs when your loadouts. If I change something, I have to change it on just the very first one. I cannot.
I
do
end up doing that
loadouts.
sometimes on accident.
I can't. I've made loadouts. I have loadouts. I just never use them. I have to like manually click everything. Otherwise, I'll forget about it. And I'll never change off of it. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. So the gameplay with the jackhammer got a little. I went a little too deep with it, and I mean we won, so it didn't matter. But that's what I have been doing is a little more jackhammer. Because it's like, dude, you know what? I've been Bushido for so long, and then it was like literally Bushido way, like was not Bushido, and it was like, man, I've just been fighting the good fight for so fucking long by myself. It feels like, and outfit. I mean, yeah, I said fuck it. I'll pull max here or there. I haven't pulled maxes in years, dude. And then I was out here pulling burster maxes. I mean, running C4, no med kits. Things that I had never done. I had literally like never really used C4. I remember when I was streaming, like I was like, I don't even know how to toss C4 and then detonate it. So I mean, I learned to.
And you had that excellent camo that Shot called you out on.
Yeah, they're like, well, we're gonna run this ugly, but they're goblins, so it makes sense. And then I've been running that same old for a long time, so I kind of went back to that. I mean, it's not far off. I think. I mean, it was kind of more gold, but whatever.
You said Bushido. What did that even mean? You were fighting.
I know. Bushido? I was. People were like, "Hey, like, should we pull maxes?" They pulled maxes. It's like, dude, one, like, what's the golden rule, right? Like my thing is, one, don't pull a max because you don't want to encourage someone else to pull it because now you're gonna be fighting more maxes. And two, it's just, I don't like maxes, so therefore I don't pull them. But I mean, ever since John and Goblins, I've done a little bit of it. The pop that they fight is sometimes so extreme that like I don't even care. And it's usually just like one or two maxes. They don't do a mass pull or anything. But
so Bushido means don't pull max.
Well, it's just like I'm not gonna. If I was an A2G player, I could pull a G. I would never go pull A2G, and then I would never go to an overpop fight, and I would never farm players with that. Bushido's just like, yeah, it's just you don't use you don't use cheesy things.
Oh.
I mean, even like shotguns
like all I do.
Well, yeah, but like if you really could fight more tanks, you'd probably spend almost all your time fighting tanks if you could. Like,
yeah, man, I drive across the map trying to find tanks.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you could help your outfit out and like, or work in tandem with the infantry and like, you know what I mean, provide support, like actually do something a little more useful. That's and like have a little risk to it. Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be so much fun, and I would respect that. But cheesing somebody from the hill into the spawn, you know what I mean? And like, it's those type of things that I'm not big into. And I was actually very, 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 very against revive grenades. I still think they're cheesy. I understand that's the meta, but it's like, dude, if I can kill 12 players and they can all of them come back up, is mind-boggling. Off of one, and you can carry 4. One person can carry 4. Yeah,
they're gonna get you eventually.
Dude. It's just crazy to think about what this game has sometimes.
Yeah,
mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, man. All right. What else is on your mind? We ran through everything that I was thinking about.
Well, those are all my things, man. Besides the anchor, maybe. What? Oh, okay. What is your ideal combined arm? Yeah, what is your? And maybe you already talked about it a little bit. But what is your? I mean, what kind of changes would you make to the game? Like, because I think there's opportunity here. In any game, you can make a change in your own opinion, yada yada. But like, I think PlanetSide is a unique game because there's not much to go off of. Most games are 1v1, so it's like that's easy. We'll just copy that. It's like, no, we'll just do 1v1v1, and then it's like, no, we'll have unique weapons for different factions, and like, oh yeah, maybe shotgun maxes are a little bit better in CQC fights, and most fights are CQC fights. Like, what I mean? Like, there's just or base design, and like, there's just so much that I think that hasn't been tried before that could be tried. In PlanetSide, that I'm just kind of curious what your ideas are, or like, I really liked the old resource system, or maybe I'd change it to this, and like.
I would make it. I'm okay. Something's got to give. Either I need to be in more places at once, and the infantry can just make it very easy to avoid me, or you redesign the bases to where it makes me harder to interact with the infantry, or you make it harder for me to pull vehicles and other force multipliers so that there's that less frequently. I'm very against the third one. I don't know. That's what I like to do. I feel like I won't play the game as much if I don't. But hot take, man, I think those lattice systems should go. I think we should go back to... All right, so we can probably keep lattice. No. I think it should go. I think if someone wants to go way behind enemy lines like we used to do way back and take like warp gate you, if you succeed in doing that to it, they deserve it. So if I want to jump anywhere in the map and start a fire somewhere, I think you should be able to do it.
Yeah, but it's like one person controls so much gameplay and stops so much. Now, granted, you can still do that with the last. One person can go in back cap, right? The problem is like that's the only base you can really touch, right? It's pretty much one base. You have one chance to impact it. But with the open lattice back in it was like you had to put out 3 or 4 fires, and then awesome. Also move forward.
That's right. I had it as a tanker. I had to look everywhere all the time because I could get attacked from anywhere every time. And that made me more conservative than not having resources.
I think I'd be for that if it wasn't 1v1v1, because it wouldn't be as like chaotic and like. Because my thing is, one player going back, like it feels like a waste of time. Now you drop your 2 squads back there, you're gonna do a point hold, like that's a fight. But one player and like a stalker infiltrator, like that's not a fight to me. It's like I gotta go back here and spend 45 seconds trying to find this dude. Like I get like. There's other ways of looking at it, and maybe in a 1v1, I think the options would be diminished a little bit, but you can still have the effect that's better than lattice. Maybe I don't know. I'm okay with that. There's good things. I'm not a big fan
of lattice. I think it's been it was a good concept when it came out, but in terms of like all the stuff, the new stuff we have, the bastions, the construction, I think the lattice is something that gets in the way of having real PlanetSide fights. And if the ghost capping is the problem, then make it to where it's locked unless you have 6 players.
I was thinking about that too, but then it takes away from one person getting there. But I mean, then you gotta do like a Valkyrie or something.
Yeah, or then you've got your gal drops again because you can't get in there.
I'm not against that.
I think that would be an interesting thing to reintroduce surgically because of all this new stuff we've got. The nanites thing. If let's just say it's not a silver bullet and taking away the lattice with 6 people to unlock a point doesn't just like magically fix everything, then you should probably separate out the resources again. Because me being able to use...
you get rid of lattice. What does that really change with the issues of PlanetSide?
Yeah.
Now, maybe you're not forcing as much top-down a hex, but like you're not changing combined arm interaction. Maybe there's a little more ghost capping.
I think that's what you're doing.
You make fair fights. The bases are the same.
Yeah, the bases are the same, but the interactions change. And that to me, when you talk about the stuff that you're saying, to me, what I hear is the interactions suck. You're facing down an AP cannon all the time, which can touch you at any point in time. Especially now that I know where all the nooks and crannies are, I can get up on top of Isa. I can just start slaying people when I'm in the right position. And with the AP round AP is even better than Hesh in my opinion when it comes to that because it's just lasering. But the point is that the interactions are what suck. The population sucks too, but it makes the interactions worse because now all of these almost like cheese exploits are just through the roof. You can go anywhere you want.
Okay, so base A and base B is current PlanetSide. You can go from base A to base B, and this is for you, by the way. And now you're at base A, and you can go from base A. You cap the base. Now you can go from base A to base B, C, D, and E. How does that change these interactions? This is like another base. There's 5 options of bases. Now there's 10 options of bases. How does that change a point hold? Because that's essentially what you have to do.
Right. Well, it doesn't.
Lanes, the same. Go ahead. Sorry.
It doesn't change it for you. It changes it for me. The tanker, I only really need to go to 1 or 2 at any given time. Whatever front I'm fighting on, I really only have 3 lattices I need to worry about. The way the lattice system works right now, I can choose 1, 2, 3, and that's pretty much the whole VS front right there. So how often really are you able to avoid me? Not that often. You've got a 1 in 3 chance if you're fighting NC that I will not be there. And I can spawn camp like a boss now just because I've been playing this game for so long, I know where to go. But if you can start a fire anywhere, and let's just say you need 6 people. All right. If you can start a fire next to my warp gate, or that one lattice point that connects Isa to my warp gate, and you start a fire there, I either have to drive my ass all the way back there to take care of you, or I let that cap and then my Vanguard runs out the next time I want to pull.
No, are you saying you can cap any base anywhere at any time?
Yes.
So you're not even saying that you have to have a connection?
old lattice where you could drop yourself anywhere you wanted.
Didn't your hex? There's like those little polygons, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hexagons. I thought you had to have that had to be touching one of the other territory pieces. You couldn't just.
I remember a time when you could start fires anywhere you wanted.
No way. No.
Am I misremembering?
Yeah, you had to have.
I have old videos of us, and this was like right out of beta, where we were the only hex right next to a warp gate, and because we had the numbers, they couldn't move us off.
Well, now you can go. Now I could be wrong. Someone can correct me, but my idea was, you could tunnel your way all the way to the warp gate or something. Okay. And then let's say you were holding that piece of territory.
Maybe that's what that was. Maybe that's what that was.
Everything around you, and then if you hold that point and you're touching, I don't even know what the max amount of hexes you could touch in the game was. But let's say it's like 5. You could branch out and hit all 5 of those. Yeah. I don't think you could just go deep in some.
I have an old video. I did an old montage. It still is one of my higher videos. It was a CCG.
There's no true front line, and even in a 1v1, it's kind of hard to have a front line because then you have to have some structure.
So I got my old. This was even before the Devil Dogs. So it was.
Okay, I'm curious because then you could just cut off. There's no point in having to cut off base then. It says resource starving, I guess, but.
Yeah, well, that was the name of the game that I remember. You would focus on this tech plant because it gave you this number of vehicle resources, and at our level, when we're focused about more of continent style stuff, well, we had an armor team that needed more resources, so Garlock or Evil would then push us toward that way instead of going toward a biolab when we were flush with nanites for max pulls and whatever.
I'm almost positive I'm right, but then you seem almost positive that you.
Yeah, it's because I remember those moments the most. I don't remember how we got there.
See, that's what old school PlanetSide was. The TI, the crown to TI fights. There's part of the game that's been done over so many times on Indar, I can't even remember.
I can't even remember either, man. It might have even been a beta thing.
Yeah.
It was here. It was. We had just taken what is that? Man, this is old format.
Loving it. Have you ever gone to someone's house or anywhere and not been familiar with it, and then when you become familiar with it, the feeling of that building changes?
Yeah, and it throws you off. Throws me off.
Yeah, and
I think it was.
I don't know where the hell I was going with that. Damn.
Well, you were asking me though. You were kind of challenging me on if it was a lattice anywhere, how would that really change the gameplay? And to me, the way that would change the gameplay is it would shift my onus from always facing forward to now I have to look around. And to me, if you do that to me, I am no longer just an infantry killing cheese machine. You've nullified my advantage. Right now, I only really need to go down one lattice, and I'm good to go.
I don't know if that works with the redeploy side, especially if you can just cap any territory at any time. One, I don't like capping any territory at any time, but if you touch it with your hex, which they had I'm gonna call them puzzle pieces back in the day for the map, were very weird looking, and you would have the normal shape, and then it might have 4 bricks that go up like that, and then it touches 3 other hexes, and so it played very differently back in the day. The hex system that they had, so you could it touched a lot of other unique territory instead of just being a square or something.
Like this. I'm showing it right now. How you would have old TI alloys, and it touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the crown.
Share your screen. I can't see.
If I
Or
do,
what are you
that's gonna
streaming off
throw
of?
off my overlay.
YouTube.
Yeah, I have my.
Let me find it on YouTube. That way you don't have to change anything. Now you got me really curious about that. But the fights, I just remember Goon holding a biolab for 48 hours and having shifts. That's the type of like persistent gameplay. That's the type of gameplay that like I kind of miss. That like again, picking up
Here
in
it is.
galaxies. Like yeah, it's lame now, but like before there was redeploy, so that's all we knew. That's all we did, and like it was cool and it was a lot of fun, and it slowed the pace down a little bit, and it really did immerse you a little bit more. And like you could like intercept stuff. You know what I mean? And like you can kind of intercept galaxies now and whatnot, but it was a much bigger deal back then if you shut down a galaxy full of people. If that makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah, that makes sense. So I was trying to find the old stuff that I had. It was this one. I need to send it to you in Discord.
YouTube sucks. How to find that when you're live? Like I go to your channel. I don't even. Are you streaming on YouTube right now?
I'm streaming on Twitch.
Well, that makes sense. That makes more sense why I can't find you. Oh, you just linked it. Okay.
So it looks like we hadn't capped that territory, but that was back when the resources were all different. I don't think the lattice system is helping the persistent nature of the game. I think it's taken away from fights by telling me I only have really 2 bases to go to anytime I cap something.
Okay, I just realized tanks. I didn't even think of. I mean, redeploy side killed vehicle play too, because there was no build up, right? Of like all those tanks and all those vehicles moving to the next base.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I used to think about that, and then Lex told me when we were talking that yes, it did, but also it wasn't ever fun for infantry to get farmed like it did, and I didn't know that. I had over idealized. I'm like, I was the tanker on that side, being like, all right, guys, it's gonna take me 2 hours, but I'll get you to your base.
No, right. No, that's the thing is like it's such a hard thing to balance. I mean, yeah,
I think redeploy side worked out. It solved your infantry problem. I don't want to take that away, but at least open up the open warfare system again. Because right now, dude, do you understand just how focused I am on infantry every time now? Do the game devs understand that I have no option now, unless I just want to wander around like I'm Alice in Wonderland? I gotta go to the base, which there's only 1 or 2 of them that I'm really worried about, if I want to contribute at all to the fight. There is no more open contributions that I can make other than just running around.
See, I'm curious, man. This goes back to 1v1 again. Like, I'm curious if you. And again, I mean, this is where you have to experiment with everything. But like, if you could either have it as a specialization in a class or a utility or something, but like only certain people can redeploy if you have that, or you have like a timer.
Like you just insert into it.
Yeah, but I think 1v1 would also help with redeploy a little bit. Because sometimes it's like when you're getting double focused, you have to be able to bounce around all over the place. You have no choice but to be able to, like you, which is why redeploy side it can be important. But I'm curious if you played around with redeploy side a little bit more, because on the flip side for Lex, I mean, how many times did Lex try to cap a base when AC was a thing? And I know they went for kills most of the time, but they still did the objective play because that's how you attract the hordes and you can kill them all.
Yeah.
But it's like, how many times do you get pop sunk within the force multipliers pulled on top of you? Like, that's also not that fun. Like, if you can get a good fight and a good farm going, that's great. But if you're just going to get rushed by 80 people, the TTK is too long to get that many kills sometimes.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. If the flow's not perfect. So I'm kind of curious.
I'm okay with higher walls. Like, okay, fine. There's still some bases you're not going to be able to avoid me. I'm going to find a way to get up on that mountainside, and I'm just going to have a clear shot every time you try and run across that bridge. and I just use the tickers on the bridge to gauge your. You need to be zigzagging. If you're zigzagging, it makes it hard for me to get you in a straight line because I just judge your movement. But if you up those walls, then that makes it harder for me to touch you at any point in time. That's fair. If you separate nanites back into resources, the different resources, then that makes it more difficult for me to have those resources. It depending on what whatever territories we have. I don't really care as much about that one because I have Aspen modules now, so probably not that big of a deal. But and then the lattice. Open that lattice back up, man. You make it hard for me to be anything but an infantry killer the way it is right now.
Question.
Yeah.
What if you could still spawn into your galaxy and Sunderer, but you couldn't use the hard spawn at a base? Of a hybrid redeploy side.
That would be great.
Because I played Arma just a little bit, and one of the things that sucked about Arma is the start of Arma took so long. Have you ever played Arma? Not Arma. Squad.
What game?
Squad. Just Squad. Mm-hmm. Well, essentially, the maps are huge. Everyone spawns in. You pick your. That's the other thing. You're limited. You can only have so many heavy assaults, or so many medics, or so many. Maybe one sniper per squad or something. And I kind of like that a little bit. But anyway, then you'd get in your vehicles, and then you'd all roll out, and it would take forever to get to your staging area, essentially on the map. And then if you died, it's like, especially right after the beginning, it's like, dude, that sucked. Now I gotta essentially restart all that, and or maybe there's a spawn close that came up, but more than likely at the start it didn't. So I do get the fast-paced nature of keeping the game quick, and that's important. But maybe there's a hybrid approach to that a little bit with redeploy side, and they've experimented, I guess, a decent amount with redeploy side. I mean, they've changed a lot.
You could also do what you do in Esamir, which is put one tech plant on the continent. That every time I fight Esamir is my least favorite because I can't pull a Vanguard all the time. If I do, then I have to pull from the warp gate, which is fine. But if we have most of the territory, it can take me 5 minutes to get to the front line, and then I have to play super conservative if I don't want to lose my tank and start all over for 5 minutes. True. So if you wanted to, maybe that's your starting point. Put one tech plant on the continent, then you limit my abilities significantly. I'd have to anvil in, but anvils cost a lot of outfit resources, and it takes a long time for them to pop up. So
that's another thing is if you just had longer fights, maybe larger bases, and that
I'd support larger bases. That'd be cool.
Not just a containment site, large, you could almost have more combined
2 or 3 tech plants put together.
Maybe, and then combined arms can work there a little bit more, if that makes sense.
I always thought that they should do create a crown.
Last a little bit more.
Create a crown, and then create tech plants around it, and you got a big ass mega base. Put these bases together and take the walls down between them, and then you almost have a mega city. That'd be cool. Put it in Halim Pass, the Straits of Halim Pass, where it's just nothing but just straight desert.
Right. Yeah, there's just. I get everything takes dev resources, but then you can do things like construction, offense. And that, really makes my mind wander of this is what we chose to pour a lot of our time and resources into.
Well, I think construction, good plan, poorly executed, not on the devs thing, but on the player side. To me, and I spent quite a bit of construction time. When construction first came out, the Devil Dogs had a dedicated construction squad, and its numbers rivaled the other divisions. We had a squad of construction at any time. It was awesome, and that was when routers were a thing. So we were supplying our infantry with dedicated 24/7 router runners. I was one of them. I would put down my reinforcements module, and then I had a router runner infill or light assault, depending on what fight I was going into. I would eject seat out of my Reaver. I would fall down in the midst of the fight, get in on the point, put it down, redeploy, die, and wait for it to just get destroyed, pull it again, and go. And we would have 2 or 3 people doing that. It was just bam, 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 and it rocked. It was cool.
Dude, there's so many ways that could have gone about that and simplified it, but made it cooler. Now, that I guess would have incorporated new bases and base design, but almost having an engineering core essentially as your construction team, right? And maybe it's okay, there's like no lakes and rivers really in PlanetSide, right? There's a couple bridges here and there, but like, okay, we can put a bridge up from this different angle that no one's expecting us, and we can install the base from this different angle and like get a foothold here.
Yep.
Or like we can go in and like we would mine the resources. Like, okay, we can put a patch over like this window that's like super exposed on the base. You know, you can't just seal off the base. Like,
that would be cool, man. That's a good idea.
Like that, as opposed to, man, look, like you see it every so often on Reddit. Look at this cool base I built that no one interacted with. Okay, is it Minecraft? Well, I don't know. Like
the problem with that, it's the no deploy zones. That's what makes that so inept. And for the flails and the glaives, okay, I have to exploit my way if I want to shoot you with a flail inside of a base. I can do it, but it takes a lot of effort to make that work.
Also, could you like imagine like again 1v1? Maybe I don't even know how old PlanetSide 1 worked, but you're attacking a new continent through like the warp gate or the sanctuary or whatever, and you essentially need to establish a beachhead. So like you have your engineers and like they're able to set up like a from squad, you know, the FOB or the forward operating base, and then it's like, okay, now we can start spawning in some vehicles. Now we can, you know, like, and you can like kind of push the front up. Again, like it's all about keeping the fight like going, as opposed to they killed our one senator. You know, like I don't know, and that's the thing with good. Very rarely was construction used in between bases. Now, granted, that's because most people just drop in the base and there's very little pushing. But like if you have this 1v1, you kind of slow down the front line and maybe redeploy side a bit. I don't even know, but like you could have construction in between the bases, and then like that helps you progress forward.
Yeah.
Oh, this base has shitty places for sunders. Like, okay, we have enough room here. We can put a Sunday garage here. Now we have like, you know, some way to protect our sunders because the devs decided not to, you know, put Sunday garages on all the bases or something. You know what I mean? Or like,
yeah. You can just drive around me when I create this awesome base
and like all that stuff. Like it's just, I don't. The automated turret, like okay, fine, but like I don't know. It just it does not feel connected to PlanetSide.
That's because the no deploy zone. If you take the no deploy zone away, then I can build a wall in front of that window that you're getting shelled through. I can do that now. It's called a blast wall. Okay, I can't do it now. I could do that now if there was no deploy. Right. But the no deploy zones went away. There's a blast shield. It's not that thick. I can fit it in between the buildings. I can wiggle it in. I can do that right now. I could go to Vanu Archives, put a blast shield, and then that will buy you at least, I don't know, 60 seconds before they knock it down. But that's 60 seconds. You're not getting shelled with an AP round or Ash. And then that's on me to figure out how to keep that up.
Okay, I don't know when you have to leave, but hear me out here.
I don't have to leave. When do you have to leave?
This is just a very random thought here. But you have your Zerg players, you have your elite fits, and I don't even know how you would balance that. I don't know if you keep maxes or not, or if you only allow maxes in a very like one for the other team. Like you have like resources that like maybe build up and like, okay, it's been 10 minutes. We have another max suit that's built up in our outfit bay or whatever. Or we can pull, you know, we have X amount of resources that we can pull one A2G for this fight. And the Zerg maybe doesn't have that option. But like essentially you could have like 500 players on one side, and then you could have like 50 players or 100 players on the other side. And it would be this imbalance, but I don't even know, like kind of like that the Halloween event, right? You have the zombies, and then you have this like little group of players that have the guns, right? But you could almost like the best of both worlds. I don't know. I'm just going really.
You could go far out there and say, you know how the outfit browser, you got the classification system, combined arms, hardcore. Yeah. You could start putting gameplay limitations based on what you're classified as. So if you,
I suggested that on my stream so many times. If you're a Zerg fit, you get these benefits, but you are excluded from these. And if you're an elite fit with maybe you're maxed out at 50 players or something, 40 players, and like inactive or not, then you are granted this ability to like your beacon's like really short. It doesn't go up all the way into the sky or something for everyone to see at all times. And like maybe it takes 3 EMPs to kill it. Just like weird.
That would be cool, man. And but in order for it to not to be cheese, you would need to balance it out. So there need to be a pro to it and a con to it. So let's say combined arms. like Devil Dogs. If we're showing up with 4 platoons, which we don't do anymore, but if we did that, let's say that combined arm, what would make sense to me is you, with a combined arms classification, you good?
Yeah, my light was cooking. I was trying to
With the
figure out.
combined arms classification, let's say you can only have 6 or 12 max per platoon. That would be one of the cons of being classified as combined arms. But you get, I don't know, 15% buff on medic revives, or you get access to revive grenades. Like there needs to be a plus and a minus that the person at the top decides this is the way we need to go based on our arrangement that's good for us.
Well,
it can't just be.
Go ahead.
It can't just be that I only get a positive, because then you start cheesing out.
Right. But okay. It'd be so hard to balance it. But this goes back to my point of like, how many times have I been in a fight, massive overpop, like it's breaking, you're barely holding, it's 4-1 pop, and it's like it would be so nice for us to have A to G come in right at this moment, like the orbital strike.
Nice.
You have that ability just to call down the orbital strike, right? But like the problem is both sides have the option, right? The overpop has the option to pull as many maxes as they want, or A to G, or force multipliers. And essentially, we're stuck on the point, and we can't even pull those things unless we pre-pulled them, right? There's no way if they die or went down, we can't get them back without picking up from somewhere and then dropping. It's like in those fights, it would be nice for the force multipliers to be focused around the smaller pop team as opposed to the larger pop team, right? They have the pop. That doesn't mean they also get the pop and the force multipliers, if that makes sense. Which is another interesting thing that squad does, is like, maybe after every 12 players you have in your squad, that squad can then pull a max. But Bravo squad only has 6 players. They can't pull a max in Bravo squad. You can't shuffle people around. It's like, okay, you have 12 players. Alpha squad now has access to 1 max and maybe access to 1 tank or something, or 1 A2G or something. Does that make sense? Like, as you, or maybe
I'm a little bit lost. Say it a different
like right
way.
now, if you have 48 players and everyone has the resources, everyone could pull a max.
Yeah. Right?
Okay. Or a tank or A to G, as opposed to you are limited in your squad to how much you can pull per squad.
Like, and that's based on your classification, based on something else.
Maybe not even. It's like you have a squad. Maybe it doesn't have to be 12 out of 12, but maybe it's like, okay, you hit 10 out of 12 in your squad. Now you have the ability to, one person in your squad can now use they can pull the max. And only one person. It doesn't have to be just Aeflic that can pull the max. It's like, if anyone out of the 10 wants to pull the max, because we hit that threshold, okay, we're going to have Lanzer, go pull your tank. We have the ability to pull 1 tank right now. You're going to be our tank guy because that's your specialty. Go pull that. But now no one else really has the option to. Your tank goes down. Maybe there's a timer. Maybe there's a resource thing.
You're going to cause me to cheese it, though. And if I had the numbers to cheese it, I'm going to cheese it hard. I'm not going to do full squads then. I'm going to do half squads. And I'm just going to have more of them.
But there's a threshold. Maybe it's 12 out of 12. Now you have access. Maybe at for every 4 players you can have 1 medic. So you can't just have 30 medics or something. Does that make sense? Like, it's like you're limited in how many. And let's be honest, like, I mean, for the most, yeah, but anyway, yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you could do something like that to where it's like it benefits both sides. My 2 squads against the 8 squads or something that we're fighting against, at max they could only have 8 maxes, right? They can't pull 30 maxes, or like they can only have 8 A to G up or something like that, and that's 8 squads. That's 2 platoons. That's a lot. Or I'm saying, I don't know how you'd balance it. That still sounds like a lot, but it balances it ratio wise based on your pop, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, I'm good with ratios. I'm good with all of that. What I'm not good with, and Nethu and I were talking about it a little bit, or he was talking about it in chat, is that what's the functional difference between having 1 tech plant versus a respawn timer for a Vanguard? And my thought is, and it kind of goes to what you're talking about, the limiting and that stuff, is in one aspect you limit my gameplay, just blanket gameplay removal. There's nothing I can do about it. I've got no control. that timer just has to run out for me, and I'm just gonna be sitting there and be like, well, shit, I'm gonna get blasted by Aeflic's anchor kill if I try and poke my head out, or Lex. I mean, I'm gonna try, but that's not fun for me at all. Or just sit here for 15 minutes and just chill.
Right, but
versus,
but then it's fun for me or Lex to run out of the spawn room, and you're on the hill 300 meters away, spamming it and killing us. It's a two-way street.
Well, hold on, because you get to the same spot. You get to the same spot though.
More than likely, there's more players being affected by your tank on that hill or that AGG in the air.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point. The end result is you still have a tank fewer times. All right, whether you have one tech plant, whether you have a spawn timer, you have fewer tanks you're dealing with at any one time. Because of that, the functional difference is in one instance, you limit my gameplay on, I don't know, it's a hard limit on my gameplay. All right, that's not fun at all. Versus, I still have the option to pull from the warp gate. It's going to take me a long ass time to get back to you. I probably don't want to keep going that fight over and over. I keep getting destroyed by Desies or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna opt out, find another way, or I'm gonna convince my outfit. Let's fight for the tech plant, and we earn that right back. In one instance, it's a hard limit that is it's like a wall. I can't get through it. But in the other instance, I have some way to play PlanetSide to earn it, to achieve it, or to find my way around it.
Okay, I like that. You can pull from the work gate.
I decide if I want to spend 5 minutes trekking across Esamir. I decide that. I can't fucking decide. I'm just gonna sit here doing nothing for 15 minutes while this timer goes down. Who's having fun? You're having more fun because you can click heads up me affecting you. That's cool. That's fine. But you're also in the same spot by me driving halfway across Esamir to get to you again.
Right. So no, I'm okay. Okay. This is why you have discussions. I like the hybrid. You can pull your tank from the warp gate at any time. The only issue would be air because it flies so much faster. So the AGG.
Yeah.
But it's still time.
But if you give me no deploy and construction, I can AI module AA all day long. All day long. And I can put it right next to where you're fighting, so it will stop the AGG from hitting you.
Yeah, but that's...
And if I got me a squad of 12 people who are coordinated, ain't nobody coming near you with A to G.
Right.
I will destroy them.
I like that. I like maybe I like a hybrid. You want to pull 12 maxes, gotta go back to the warp gate, and you have to have the resources. No timers. Otherwise, if you want to pull it on the front lines over, we're at TI Alloys, and you got 12 players in your squad, and you have the resources for the squad, then one player can pull the max. If he goes down, then you got to wait for your resources to go back up. Same thing with you want to pull AGG.
At all times, I want to be in a tank. I'm flexible on not always having the cheese available to make it less fun for you. That's fine, dude. That's no problem. Make me earn my keep when it comes to tanking around. But taking away my tanking ability, that's one of the reasons why I play this game. Because of the scale.
Right, but it still allows for the specialization. You can still pull from the warp gate. But there's not that many tankers. So okay, you want to be the tanker in Alpha Squad, and you get to pull it. There's not that many max mains or players that really pull maxes all the time. The issue is that there's so many players and there's so many resources are slowly coming in that if you are running a platoon or two platoons, you could keep up many maxes indefinitely, or tanks or A to G indefinitely, or I can pull for you and you can fly it. That's my thing is the ease of access to these things is not good.
It is really easy nowadays. That's true.
Yeah.
It's
any base
super
with
easy.
An infantry terminal or a spawn, you can pull max out. Things like that. That's what I'm saying. If you want to pull 12 maxes from the warp gate, you can go back to the warp gate. If you have the resources, you're gonna have to get in the galaxy and you're gonna have to fly out. It's gonna take a long time.
Or you can steal rain now. I think this outfit war showed the power of steal rain.
I think I'd be okay with that as long as the limitation, you can't store 10 steel rains and use it over and over again and have the maxes. At some point,
you can only have. I can't remember. It's 5 or something. 4 steel rains.
I'm liking this concept of maybe this threshold you have to hit to pull certain things. Only one. I think
limiting what I've seen is the development of the game has gone into limiting I don't know what it's called, like when you spawn, okay? Anytime I spawn, whatever I have available to me, I just seen like a narrowing of what that is.
But
When I
most
think
games do that for a reason. I want to be in the AC 130 and the chopper gunner at all times in Call of Duty when I was playing it. I want to get the dogs as much as possible. I want to get the little missile that you get after like 3 kills or something. I want my UAV to be up 24/7. It doesn't matter that that's what you want to be in a max 24/7 farming players. It's about what's the best and the healthiest for the game for all players at all times.
but you can still get there without doing that though. In PlanetSide you can.
How?
We already talked about what that looks like.
How do you, but
the tech plant only in the center, the diverting of the resources.
You can't get your Vanguard. Then now you can't play at all. And what if they're
No, I can still play because I can pull from the work gate if I really want it. If I'm hungry for it, I can do it.
But what about maxes? What about A to G? What about some of these other
A to G? Okay, I mean that's a problem I don't really know. I've been a gal driver a lot, but not really A to G. So what could you even do there?
What I'm trying to get, and this is what I wanted in like ServerSmash or something, is like the idea that it's like you are choosing to pull this force multiplier or use this thing in this scenario because you need it, right? Like right now, if I wanted to, if I had a platoon up and I wanted to pull 4 maxes, and this happens all the time, right? There's 4 maxes at this 80-20, right? 80% to 20% pop. Because I know I have 48 players, only 4 of them are in maxes. I can get 4 more at the next fight, or I can get 8 at the next fight, and I can just kind of, we can just keep things going. As opposed to is nobody pull maxes here. It's 80-20. We need to conserve when we choose to use this, because it's something that is an enhancement. But okay, maybe you want to be in your tank all the time. That's fine, because I know you're specialized. You're an expert. Like maybe it's easier for you to keep it up or whatever. But it's like. Yeah. It's like, we're not going to have A to G at this fight. We're going to cap this base no matter what. We have 200 players here. Even if they redeploy, it doesn't matter. No reason for us to pull A to G here. A to G is different because you can kind of flat around or whatever. But it's like choosing when to use these things. Kind of like Outfit Wars was like, okay, maybe you don't want to use your orbital strike at this base because there's no maxes here. Maybe you're going to wait for the strategic time to use this because you're only going to get 2 for the match. Maybe if you use it right away, you'd get 3. By the time you're able to, rebuild it. But this like choosing of when to use things as opposed to, because again, what I want to do, I don't care if you kill me in a max and the fight's good, or you kill me in a vehicle and the fight's good. It's when I'm trying to, or these, it's not even me, these dog shit players spawning at an 80-20, having to go up against these cheesy force multipliers. They can at least probably kill an infantryman. But they're not going to kill AGG. They're not going to kill a tank 300 meters away. They're not going to kill that max. They don't even have access probably to C4 yet. That's what I'm trying to like better the experience all around without deleting these things necessarily. If that makes
I feel
sense.
like you're in a good spot though with the tank, because there's a lot of things that can eat me alive now. I mean, flash C4s appearing out of nowhere.
Not at 80-20, but not at 80-20. I'm trying to wrap your head around the negative aspects of a lot of things in PlanetSide. I don't mind most interactions when they're doing what they were intended to do.
Which is what?
What is your job as a tank? Is it to farm the spawn, or is it to support the infantry? Is it to take out?
Now we're getting into it. Now we're getting into it, dude. You might not like my answer. All right. My job as a tanker is to make that infantry fight easier for my guys. Mm-hmm. If there is one less person running at them with a gun, I'm doing my job. If I'm spawn suppressing, I'm doing my job. If I'm killing other tanks, which are farming them, I'm doing my job. If I'm killing AA, whatever it is to make that point hold happen, that's what it is. Now, in older days, that job was hard as shit because there were people all over the place. There were air wings coming and dive bombing on us. There were Desis, just 17,000 of them firing at my direction, and we just get dogged down easy. That was hard to do. So my job was affected by other people doing their job. But now I come at you doing my job. How many people can stand in my way? Well, the population doesn't really support people doing their job to deal with me. And now my position up on Isa, on where those mountains are, firing into the mezzanine, hitting people almost at a point, that can get very difficult, very frustrating, and I get that.
Well, this goes back to risk versus reward. There's at those type of fights, there's almost zero risk, because even if your tank goes down, it has to go down like 4 times in a row, just to make you wait 2, 3 minutes. Then you can still pull. That's true. You can just go right up to the spawn and die. I'll pull another one. Go right up to the spawn and die.
And now, if I don't want to wait 2-3 minutes, I drop an anvil if I want to.
See,
but I haven't had to do that in a long time. So you have a good point.
Are you really helping your team when there's 10 people at the spawn and there's 70 of you outside the spawn? All you're doing is like fishing for a kill of some dude running out of the spawn. Like, it's not like,
and that's not all I'm doing.
No. I'm talking about a lot of fights in PlanetSide. Most fights are not 50.
Nowadays it is like
fights, that's what I'm saying. And part of the issue is the 1v1v1. It's not 500v500. And there's so much okay, we're gonna go this fight and maybe they see us here. Oh no, they're all there's and it says 96 plus. You have no idea if it's 200v200 or 96v96. Like, there's so much unknown in 1v1v1 that like it'd be a different thing that if you had 80 players at this base against 10 when we have 480 and you have 500 people on the map, because technically the pops are almost perfect. And it's like, if we really wanted to, we could throw the equal pop there. But it's not always going to happen.
You convinced me on the 1v1. I see where that can take us if they were to do that. All right, I'll yield that one.
Help a lot of because there's very little benefit from 1v1v1. What benefit is there besides having 3 factions of semi-uniqueness, which has kind of really got bland now? But again, and I know you already agreed with me, so I don't know why I'm going down this. But like, very rarely is there are there 3-way fights.
Either we do 1v1 or we do 1v1v1v1.
I think that complicates it too much.
I think 1v1v1 is has turned into more trouble than it's worth nowadays.
Right. Okay, perfect. We're on the same page.
But would you have said that in 2013 and 14? Would you have said that? Knowing what you know now, what is your opinion of that time?
I never really thought about it because I was having a lot of fun. But did it suck when you got double teamed all the way and you were like, and you did a lot of good things on that alert when alert meta was a thing?
Yeah, that sucks.
It really kind of just,
and it sucks because it's out of your control, and it feels like,
exactly,
my man, what can I do to that? What can I do? My like, 4 platoons of devil dogs ain't shit against pigs and DPSO and all their friends barreling down on me.
And part of the issue is, I remember in command, and then you have player separation, right? Leadership separation. It's like half of the leads are like, hey, we don't want to take too much territory. I was like, okay, what do you want to do with you want my guys to go sit at the warp gate for the first 20 minutes of the alert? When we're only on for, an hour or 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
It's our ops at night, right? Or ops time. Because that's the only way we can win. Like, that doesn't make sense because we're playing the game. So we want to, we want to engage and fight. So it's like, then you're punished for it if you take too much territory and you're too good. So yeah, that was an issue for me, because a lot of things felt stolen, or like you said, out of your control, or the other 2 factions are going at it, and it's like, if it's a 1v1, it's just like it's a fair playing field, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I feel about the timers too. It's probably, if I were to boil it down, it feels like it's out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. If you account for,
you could play smarter. You could have 2 out of 2 in your vanguard. You maybe have another dedicated engineer.
I can do that in other ways, man. You don't have to you don't have to put a timer on me to make me play smarter.
Right, but if you can anvil, pull 4 tanks in a row, there's no reason for you to play smarter. None.
That's not true.
Out of your own desire. Like, for me,
that's not true. If you got pop levels through the roof like we used to have in the later years, even when I could pull crazy, I played smarter, because anytime I peeked my head out, if I wasn't playing smart, I die.
Yeah, but why is pop diminished? I mean, yeah, it's an older game, but like, I'm just telling you, there's a lot of fights that people go to that are just dog water. And
I believe you, and that's something that you know better than I do.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because I'm an infantry guy. What was my point here? Hold on one second. Let me I really want you to think about the other side of things. That's what I'm like. I know that
I'm
you feel
trying.
like you're
I'm trying.
you feel like you're being punished with the timer, but you're not thinking about punishment that is going out on a lot more players.
No, what I'm
And
saying
just
is that
you get my point. Though. There's two sides to it.
Yes.
You can't pull for 15 minutes because your tank died, and yeah, somebody C4 ferried you, whatever. That sucks, and you got to go back to I call it core, but I'm just saying the bottom tier of the game, not bottom tier, but like everyone spawns in as infantry. So when I say core, that's what I mean. You got to go back to the core gameplay until you can pull again. But for us core gameplay infantry players, it's like, dude, there's nothing we can do. I'm on a 15-minute timer until the Zerg breaks up because I got to go to these 3 to 4 minute cap bases for the next 15 minutes until I either get help, more people log in. You know what I mean?
All right. I mean, I see your point. I don't think you're seeing mine. Don't take my ability to be a tanker entirely away from me.
Right.
Just limit the way I'm able to affect you.
Yeah,
if I'm tooling around in the warp gate,
around the map.
No, if I'm tooling around the warp gate in my tank, what does it matter to you if you don't see me for 15 minutes, whether it be a timer or I'm way the hell off in this other place?
Again, I think we had a great compromise and something to try is you can always pull from the warp gate, which was the original PlanetSide.
And it still is, to be fair, you can do that now. Yeah. Esamir is the great example of that, where I am very limited because I only have a 1 in 3 shot that I have that tech plant. And if I've got it, well then shoot, I'm a menace. But we've earned it.
Maybe I should rephrase this. Tanks are really not that big of an issue unless the pop is massive at a fight and like they can get super close. And there's some weird angles here and there.
Right. Yeah.
But
that's my thought.
Of the time, it's population, it's A to G, and it's maxes. And a lot of times, maxes aren't even getting a lot of kills. They stall the fight. I've talked about this too. You want battle, and I talk about Battleflow. You want Battleflow to be a little ebb and flow. You want a little tug of war. You don't want suppressive fire being exchanged for 20 minutes and nothing really happens, right? You want there to be a capture, a defense, an endpoint. It can't be too quick like it is right now, but it also can't be nothing's happening, right? Like those fights where, like at the Crown and like it's 96 plus, or TI Alloys when it was the fractured warp gate. Is that what's called, fractured warp gate? When there's low pop. And like that kind of just opens, and maybe it's early morning, and like the only fight is TI always, and it's a three-way fight.
Yeah.
But like not much is happening, and like one team has an advantage, the defending team has the advantage, and the team attacking from the north up the hill has a severe disadvantage and are getting farmed. And then the other team is kind of doing okay because they had that when the big rock outcropping bridge was there. That's where their center would go, and they would have a good beachhead there. But it was kind of like a 2v1 because. This is, the hard spawn at TI was over here. The rock bridge spawn from Crown was there, and then the third team had their Sunny down the hill, and they had to kind of push into 2 spawns essentially. But anyway, where is he even going with this? My goodness, I don't even know. I went down on a tangent here.
I think where you're going with it is, it started out with seeing your point of view about how the infantry fight flowed back and forth and the tug of war.
Maxes jam up doorways, and the bases are already small, like a biolab. Like when massive 96 plus gets in a biolab, and everyone's in that secondary gen. You know what I'm talking about? The secondary gen right by the SU, off the SU, the skinny stairs and all that. There's a max right there in skinny, and then there's crossfire all over the place, and they kind of have a line from there. And then you can't really push in because there's too much pop there, even without the maxes. But the maxes just bottleneck it even more. People are scared. A lot of players don't want to push against the max, so that they do nothing. And even if you kill the max by suiciding or C4 in it, there's so much buildup in that room that he just gets repped and he's back up. Like, and there's no movement.
And now I have phylactery if I really want to get back up very easy.
Right, exactly. That's my point. Is Battleflow is important, and it's sometimes things like maxes can really just kind of clog that up. And they're supposed to be, again, the idea of the max is what, to break a stalemate, but that's not what they're used for.
Yeah, now they're almost to hold a stalemate.
Right, the max crash, which I think is a good thing they got rid of. That was really the only offensive or defensive, because they had charge back in the day. Max.
Wait, why are you saying it's good to get rid of when you just cited it as one of the only things that broke it? Stalemate.
Well, because it was also like it was very difficult to get away from a max player when he could just charge at you.
I mean, that used to be our opening move in every ups, was we would instant action in as maxis.
Again, when you need to use it as a strategy or tactic, it's great, right? But the problem is when you break that down into all the other, again, it's not a 6v6 lobby, right? The problem with most things in PlanetSide is when the population is imbalanced, and then those things are.
No, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that.
At a fight that is 2080 and we max crashed from an unexpected teleporter room because we did a maneuver or something back in the day, and we were able to re-secure it against overpop. That was great and it felt great. And as somebody that's attacking that, you get those GGs in yell chat like, wow, that was awesome. Like, okay, against there's respect on both sides. When it's 80-20 and you use a max crash to pop against the 20 players there, it's kind of like, dude, really? We were doing something good and we were like, and you couldn't break it, so then you had to do this thing. You had to, on top of the pop, you had to. That's where it gets a little, I don't know.
Bushido?
It's so hard to balance. Say what?
Is it Bushido?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I want to have fun, and I know you want to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to be real careful on how you. That's why I said there's a little bit of.
That's true, because I don't want to down your fun. I don't
either. Most of the fights when I was playing, we would get a lot of fucking kills. I'd try for 30, 40, 50 kills at a fight. Maybe it would be 20 or 10 or 12, whatever. And, I'd race some of the other guys in my squad. And then if we capped the base, it was great. But most of the time, we'd get pushed off the point, right? By the massive overpop and force multipliers. But it was like we both got to win. I got a fuck ton of kills, and my boys got a fuck ton of kills. We had a good fight. And then they secured the base, right? They got their objective of like pushing us off, right? And it's like we could both leave, and maybe that's not ideal, but in our heads, it was like we can both leave winning and happy.
I mean, I agree with that. That's what it felt like for us whenever we would go up against Future Crew or whoever at the time. We pushed them off because we had the numbers, but it was a farm fest, and we weren't on the winning side for that one.
And this goes back to my 1v1 point. This is what made ServerSmash so good to me, outside of the max spam and some of these spam things that happened there, which I thought was just detrimental to it. But was if you overpop a base, you will pay for it somewhere else, because it is damn near as close as you can to 50-50 pop, and it's a 1v1. So that's when risk versus reward. This whole idea of if you want to pull all your maxes in this fight, because I think ServerSmash had a resource bleed, like an Outfit Wars. So you want to do that? Hey, pull all the maxes you want right here, because I know you won't be able to pull at the fight that matters, because there's risk and reward of when do you do these things. That's what I like about like a little bit of strategy, like a little bit of thinking. That's what I love. Dude, ServerSmash is one of the best things for the game, in my opinion. Sane could go there, Gilly could go there, and they could farm the fuck out of the infantry and do their thing and still be useful to the team overall. And you could still have the combined arms, like the large fights.
Those giant ass air battles were taking place while the armor was trying to take care of stuff. That's true. And obviously,
whenever the air battle got one-sided and they wiped the other air and they couldn't pull, and then you had all the A to G on the ground, that really sucked for the gameplay. But when it was a tug of war with the air and there wasn't too much A to G, the infantry, it was just, dude, that is like peak PlanetSide. Like if you want to experience the entirety of PlanetSide, equal numbers for the most part. Man, maybe a couple people logged down or whatnot. At least at the start, equal numbers, 1v1, and until one side kind of snowballed the other. It didn't always happen that way. There's a lot of good close matches.
Yeah. Are you saying keep everything the way it is right now? If we changed it to a 1v1, what do you think would happen?
I think it would be drastically better. I think it would be night and day difference, and that's what like true outfit coordination is. And what did it encompass? Everyone's complaining about Outfit Wars, the ringers, yada yada, and like, okay, my outfit's too small, I can't participate. ServerSmash, backside of squad. Sometimes we had two, right? When we were bigger, AOD, you guys can field a platoon. Okay, we're gonna need a platoon from you guys. Okay, Future Crew, you have 6.
That's
AC
true.
has 6.
It was much more adaptive.
Everyone got to play. Now, do I think that there should be some restrictions in it? Yes, you know how I feel about that. But if you could do some sort of resource revamp that was good for like a live play, that would obviously carry over to ServerSmash, then you don't have all the AGG spit. You don't have some of the spam that could snowball and make it feel bad.
All right, I buy that. 1v1, Rel. 1v1. That's an interesting thing to think about, man. You got me thinking. Thoughts?
Trying to break it down here. 10 years too late.
Yeah.
But that was peak PlanetSide, man. I have fond memories of ServerSmash.
Yeah, me too. I was on the other side of it, but I was on the organization side of it.
I didn't realize that, and I've been listening to your StratSides, and I mad props to you for getting that ball rolling.
Yeah. I mean, the vast majority of PlanetSide or ServerSmashes, I was on the organization side of it. So I didn't even play good. Most of them. I played some of them, but most of them I was like, organizing fund police or doing some sort of back end work of accounts or whatever. We all played different roles.
Just think if you had like dev support to where you could scale ServerSmash from like the large scale it is, and maybe you wanted to do like an elite fit type or mid fit, like smaller ServerSmash, and you could shrink the map or make the map kind of unique in different ways, and like in regards to what's playable. Even doing it like with restrictions on it. I've always liked the idea, and I'm sorry, it's already midnight.
It's all right.
Of galaxies having maybe just the 2 AA guns on them, no bulldogs. They are transport, and you have defense for your transport, which means what is the Reaver's job? Reavers are pure A to A. They only attack air. Like, yeah, maybe your nose gun, if you really could get like an infantry kill here or there, but you can't just spam like rocket pods or whatever, or your air hammer exclusively. Like it'd be a challenge to get multiple infantry kills. But what is the Reaver's job? The Reaver's job is to fly escort for the galaxies and to take out Valkyries and intercept things, right? Kind of like how Outfit Wars is. That's what our air squad. What is their job? Their job is to keep the other air at bay and to intercept. And in the matches where it gets a little more snowball, like VCats against was it Recursion? No, who was that? 1TR or something, I think. I was watching PathDad, and he was intercepting. They were intercepting all those Valkyries coming out, and like it really like made a difference. And it's like, what's the job of the Liberator? You want anything that's A to G? It should be slow, and all it does is A to G. So you need
like
maybe some Reavers. You can have the tail gun, because the tail gun's meh. No shredder, or I mean, you can have the shredder. I don't care. You can it's pure A to G with maybe a little shitty tail gun on it or something. And it's maybe a little bit slower and maybe not as maneuverable. And maybe you got to get a little bit lower to get into the fight or something. But like you clearly define each aircraft. And maybe if you want to transport Reaver or something, I'm not gonna go down that route. But the Valkyrie can be a transport. Like
I could support taking out A to G rockets for ESS. I think that makes sense. Like taking away bulldogs for gals. Okay, that makes sense. Battle gals will be transports mostly, or A to A.
Or you could even do this, like you could, like, again, these are restrictions that you could do in ServerSmash, right? Like especially if you had the ability to restrict players from actually using it. It's like, okay, the Galaxy is just going to be for this for ServerSmash. And then we had some Bushido for ServerSmash, like, no infantry maxes and things like that.
That would give us a chance to almost like PTS stuff.
You see what I'm saying? Dude, I'm telling it would be so cool to do that. It would be so cool just to experiment with that.
If the devs implemented like almost like a World Tanks clan battles thing, where you could do big almost like Jaeger like things on live, almost like Outfit Wars now, but more, if I want to challenge you, I send you an invite, you accept, and then we show up and we battle. But then you could also say, like, I don't want to use maxes, I don't want to use blah 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 or whatever. That could almost be like free player test server on live, and then people would be able to kind of glean, well, what does the world look like if we don't have A to G? Hey, here is that 48v48 match where we got to see that happen, or that 248, 248.
You have A to G, but it's just restricted to the Liberator, and you'd have to obviously do some balance passes on the Liberator because it's kind of meh.
That's interesting.
Because I mean, like, there's so much that could develop around that. Even if the air snow, like, I mean, at some point it's like, okay, we're gonna have to pull like 6 galaxies with our, with the AA on it, just to get transport out because we can't do the Valkyries or the Reaver drops because they're just intercepting everything. And it's just, I don't know. You could just create a different. But then it's like, okay, if you keep the galaxies up, you're not gonna have 6 galaxies like with also bulldogs on the side, able to just plant down for a little bit. Oh, you shot me for a minute. I've taken too much damage. Let me get out of here and rep up, and then I'll come back. Like, it's just, I don't know, it would make just change the dynamic of the game. I feel like same thing with Sunderers. There should be transport with real shitty guns, maybe AA guns or something that's like just you need the tank should be defending the Sunderers, right? Or maybe the harassers. But it's like the Sunderers should not be. The battle bus is just like yeah, that was cool for a little bit, but realistically, it gives the tanks a little bit more of a job, even though Redeploy Side kind of took away Sunderers in a lot. But you just, I don't know, you just kind of really restrict some things to like each thing has its domain, if that makes sense. I'm fucking going all over the place here.
Yeah.
I don't mind burster maxes, dude. I don't mind actually anti-vehicle maxes, but most of the time it's like, okay, pounders are really good, so we're just going to pull them. We're TR and ServerSmash, and we're going to use them as anti-infantry because they're just as good. That pissed me off, and they never wanted to ban those.
That's what I do with Falcons sometimes.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, I don't mind if you're doing these things to counter like vehicle play, right? Oh, the air, there's a good Liberator.
No, I mean, I'll use Falcons to AI sometimes.
Oh, but I hate anti-vehicle maxes that are very, very good at anti-infantry. That makes sense. Like I like separating the domains a little bit because by doing that, you give things a specific role.
True. And
you can't do everything. I have to pick between C4 and medkits. But a Reaver, they don't have to. They can do everything if they want to. It's just,
that's true. I do feel like in a tank, I can pretty much do everything.
Galaxy's the worst. And dude, when Notorious used to do their little battle gals, it's so tanky, and it can do. And when the Bulldog was broken, same thing with Battle Bus. A bus on the point, it's supposed to be a spawn option, not a freaking turn. Those are the things that really just, I get that. That's just gaming in general. People are going to find their ways to break whatever they can to get an advantage. But when it becomes the meta, it becomes, a different story.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. When it becomes meta, it becomes a different story.
I love the 1v1 ServerSmash, the idea, and I love the idea of restricting everything to, and even medics. You could get rid of res grenades to a degree, and like 1 res grenade per medic. It only reses 5 guys max. Whoever's closest to it, or do whatever algorithm you want. Instead of 1 res grenade resing 50 people, that's dumb. And 1 player can res 200 players from 4 grenades. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm just saying little tweaks. It's not.
You can make it where your res grenade only revives your squad mates.
You could do something like that. Like, it's. And the guys, like I said, guys, because they do a lot of galaxy drops. They'll pick up a max from like a biolab somewhere in the galaxy. Like the pacing is a little slower in that regard, but I don't know. It's just very, very effective.
CCDMC in chat says res nades only get 10 people now.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's still 40 players. That's insane from 1 player, but still, it's an interesting thing to. Like, you just do little tweaks, and instead they're always fixing other things that are balanced passes and things that just don't make any sense to me. But because what's the meme, the competitive PlanetSide meme of, like, oh, it's just resonate spam on the point into like,
right.
But it's like
whoever runs out of resonates first.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. I don't even know what it would look like if you didn't have so many resonates.
Yeah, we do. Because most of PlanetSide, we didn't have resonates.
Oh, fair. That's true.
We know what that looks like.
My mindset was different. So like, I can't even, dude, when I was in the Liberator and WMD and like shooting at people on the tower, I had no thought of like farming, or no thought of like, I have more pop in this hex, and like there's only 5 guys at the base. I'm just shooting the decimate, like Dalton. Like, I didn't know. Like, so it's like hard for me to think back then as to what to how I think now. But I don't know.
I have the same problem.
Experimented with,
some
think about
things
Skynet,
get jarbled in my brain.
Dude, the Skynet would have stayed around. Oh, galaxies. Anyway, I don't know. I think
go ahead. What's up about galaxies?
Cool. No, I would just the whole idea of like the vehicles have their own The Galaxy should not be able to be a transport, A to A platform, repair itself in other air, and also have bulldogs for anti-vehicle and anti-infantry. It does everything. Dude, the battle bus spawn. You can farm. You can. No, walkers are okay, but they're not that bad. But it does everything. The battle bus does everything.
That's true.
It holds the point down. It's like 6 maxes together. Like you can. It's. That's my point. Is like just make us specialized. It would make. I think, dude, it'd make the game so much better and be so cool. Oh, dude, it'd be so cool.
1v1, huh? I buy it. I buy that.
With resonates, like if you don't have so many resonates going off, like you can't just tunnel in. I die 8 times. I finally get behind you all, and I can start killing people from behind. I hate, like it just takes away from a lot of the skill parts of PlanetSide. And I love the idea of like the med tool primer. Is like 80 should be 80 to 90% of how you get people up. There's risk there. You have no gun out. It takes a second for them to come up. Then you got to switch back to your weapon if you got to fight somebody.
Like right now.
What do you mean? Oh yeah. How does? But most medics, not even necessarily. You don't even have to be a good medic. Run revive grenades. You get.
That's true. That's true.
It's too easy not to. But then you start separating like skill and like medic play, like which again I learned from Gobs. I was like, I didn't even know some of these things that you guys were doing, and like the ways that they play around each other and their heavies, and like just the deep dive mentality on that. And that's with res grenades. But if you took res grenades out, or you just had one res grenade and maybe only res 5 people or something, it just changes it to min max the harder things. I don't know. I just think it would be cool.
So we do agree on a number of things. Sounds like.
What happened to ServerSmash? There's not enough. Too many people bitching at the staff. Probably no money, nobody getting paid, and then maybe a loss of interest, or I don't know.
It was loss of interest. It became too difficult that we couldn't field the 4088s anymore.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, it was population decline is what I put it at. There was plenty of staff, and even when we didn't have the staff as much as we needed, you can make it happen. But when nobody wanted to sign up, that's when you went to 144s, and that's when you went down to 98s, and then it was over.
And it became community smash because that was the only way to get the numbers.
Right. Then it became lane smash after that. That's when I replaced it. Because lane smash, we couldn't get the numbers for server smashes.
I think the staff overturned almost every year, with very few people staying a part of it. Because I remember I would have the same arguments with the next staff about the max anti-infantry maxes got it. Like we banned it last year. It was a step in the right direction.
The outfit reps changed a lot. There was a lot of burnout,
a lot of frustration around that. I think from outfit leads.
Yeah, and then each outfit had, or each server rep had their own way of like, do we do it based on activity? Do we base it on kills or whatever? And we stayed out of that. That's why we call it the fairness doctrine. Just as long as you come and it's fair. But then that became its own codex, and just as things happen, the first time it was great, and then people optimize, and then we have to like put in new rules, but in the end, population interest signups was the thing that killed it. We couldn't keep fielding the server smashes. Otherwise, we would have.
Yeah, again, I'm curious how things would have went if we had tried a couple. I know you're anti-restrictions, but if you had tried a couple different restrictions, like I'm curious if like there's almost no A to G, and no maxes actually like fighting infantry, but use them as bursters or use them for like actual like taking out a sunder or something.
Like there was no scatter cannons.
Yeah, or pounders, because again, there's people found that there are loopholes, like, and then everyone wanted to be TR because you could actually use the anti-vehicle weapons way more than the other maxes and like really like take control that way. But I'm curious because I think a lot of people got jaded by the whatever side won the air battle and then A to G farmed. It got really bad, and maybe you weren't. It got really bad on the ground, and I think that burnt a lot of people out, and it just wasn't fun. I'll fight infantry all day.
I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. Like you're trying to hold a base against overpop, you're attacking a base against overpop, or maybe it's 50-50, and then like 5 banshees come out. Bro, that would decimate. And some of the bases are so open. That's GG. That's a wrap.
I think the game would change if I had a construction squad at my disposal, and you took out those no deploys. You want to try and come at me with your air game when I've got not only AI modules for my AA turrets, but a sky shield, dude.
True,
you ain't shit against my full construction squad.
It's the problem
because each one can put down its own AI. It's his own AA.
Like the timers are so short at the bases in the game in the or outfit. You're playing.
Okay. When we had our squads, we kept up with our people. We figured out how to optimize construction to where we were value added at bases, and routers was the only thing that could keep up. Flails couldn't hit bases. The armor pools, I had to continually restock silos, and that took too long. So we would stage it in a certain area, tell our vehicles and our AA and our air people, this is the waypoint where you want a free pull. This is where you got to go. And when it got too far, we had to just make that decision. We'll redo it over here, 5,000 meters up ahead or 4 hexes ahead. But
see, they tried to main game construction. That was my whole. Construction needed to be a support role.
Sure.
It should never benefit outright the infantry, as in like.
Well, it doesn't.
Like a flail, right?
The flail can't hit no deploy.
Right, but my point is like that shouldn't even that doesn't even need to be in the game at all, in my opinion.
Oh man, I love the flail. I love the concept of it.
Sky shield. It's like, okay, like how can we help our infantry from air, right? Okay, we'll do a sky shield, or like you could put like a shield on a doorway that a max can't go through, but any infantry can pass through. It's like it's just a normal doorway. You put a thing on it, and maybe it's a timer. I don't even know, but max just can't pass through it. Only infantry can pass through it, and like it's a delaying thing or something. Like it doesn't benefit me as Aeflic,
like a max shield. that could do it. That could work.
I thought about that a long time. It's like, how do we just prevent maxes from coming in? Like, like just ways to like okay,
max
remember
barrier.
The shield? The outfits could deploy the shield and it was one way out, but no shots in, and then they changed it to no shots either or.
That was the
Citadel. It's still here.
Yeah, you're right.
So, like, I know it's not construction, but I'm using that as an example. Like,
I get what you're saying.
That was too strong of a benefit to the infantry players, and like it didn't really. It kind of protected from air, but it was kind of too big. But like, I don't want you to buff me. I just want you to protect me from some of the things that are not infantry. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You know what? If taking out the no deploy zones for construction meant you also had to take out the flail and the flail, I'd make that trade in a heartbeat.
That's what I'm saying. Like construction. I mean,
now
it
the glaive is not a problem to you. It takes a 1 pixel direct hit to kill you, and it takes multiple salvos to really do anything to infantry. The glaive is good for me. I like the glaive. It's a good anti-skywall shield. But if take out the flail, fine. I really love that thing though when I can use it. But take it out and then take out the no deploys so that I can put up a blast shield to stop something around from hitting you through a window. Or I can now put a sky shield over in a base to protect you from A to G, or a few of my buddies, we can just put up AA turrets periodically outside of around the base. Now you've got yourself some anti-AG, some real AA.
And this is, there's probably lots of people that I just never connected it because I was always solo squad playing or not really giving a shit. But the addition of the sky shield for the infantry that you can place down the
little portable sky shield. Yeah,
dude, that was amazing, and obviously that does add some benefits because it is a one-way pass through, which I think probably should be changed. Because they use
two-way. To make it 2-way.
No, I just think it should be like the Citadel shield. You can't shoot through it on either side.
Oh,
but it does. It blocked the air for you because the little tactic of, on the powerhouse, you put it outside the powerhouse and then it covers into the big stairway.
Yeah.
And I can shoot up it, you can't shoot down. No, it is nice because it can break some of the holds, because I think most of the buildings in the game are too small for the pop, and it's like you can just crossfire the fuck out of a door. It's very hard sometimes to push in. But yeah, I really do like that addition. And like, it's stuff like that
I think that's cool too.
that like I want to focus on as opposed to a Bastion fleet carrier. That one person gets to fly, usually the outfit leader exclusively.
That's
maybe
true.
a couple leads. It's like this massive thing that we add to the game and resources, and like realistically doesn't get pulled all that often. And if your faction already has one out, you can't pull it. And again, only very few people benefit from it. And it just devastates the ground where I have nothing I can do as an infantry player. I have zero chance of pulling my Reaver to do anything against it without, massive assistance. And even then, I'm just literally cannon fodder when I pull my Reaver for it. Like, that's what we added stuff like that, and then obviously we had to add a Colossus tank to deal with that. And it's like this chain reaction of just bad things or just unnecessary things when we could have got something like the little sky shield for the infantry. It's like, now we have a way of maybe blocking a little bit of A2G. That's great. But and if we do it so it's not a double pass through, or either side can't shoot through, there's no real advantage for me when somebody drops on the roof and I can shoot them but they can't shoot me, right? When neither one of us can shoot through it, then we can just use it as a tool to maneuver around, right? We both have the same advantage, but I don't get farmed by A2G, so it's the plus. That's what the game needs to focus on, is like those little. They make you choose. Okay, do you want, some players are going to run that, and then some players are going to run this other thing, or maybe like you put that shield up on the doorway and a max can't pass through it for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you start having people specializing. You kind of, you know what I mean, like.
And
I don't know.
Maybe I always want, because I'm an engineer. I'm a main engineer. I always thought that we should have an AA turret.
Yeah, I've seen people post on Reddit, even like the Spitfire, but an AA variant. But the AA turret would be cool too. You could slap down.
That would make me useful against anti-air, which I can't. I can do fuck all right now against anti-air as an Infi. Or I'm thinking NG.
Right. I mean, most infantry, you're pretty fucked. I mean, even bursters are.
Isn't the Hawk really good against AA?
The lock on is too long. I haven't used the Hawk in a long time.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to somebody that like TJ or maybe Hick or somebody that actually like they actually run the numbers on stuff and like know. Like I said, I almost have 300,000 acre kills. I don't know much outside of that, so like
that's fair.
I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even know that this. I seen it. Is that even a fucking phrase?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I remember experiencing that little sky shield tactic on the fat stairs, but until I went to Gobs and like, oh blah 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 blah, this was like, I didn't even like think about, like, I remember it annoyed me sometimes, and I thought it was just like a glitch to the thing, like people weren't actually doing it like on purpose, and like I don't even know why I didn't connect the dots because I'm an idiot. But I was like, oh shoot, that's like an actual like thing that people use. Like that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Like again, I'm not, never been my focus, and I haven't had that focus because I feel like that wasn't a part of live until again I joined up with Cops. But
yeah, well, Canuck said the masthead now, which is true. I've noticed a lot of.
I heard some people talking about that. It's pretty good. Broken.
It's a big pain in my butt now. Mastheads. They don't do enough to really be a threat by themselves, but when you've got like a squad of people, hit me with a masthead. And the worst part is, it's almost kind of like the difference between the Ranger and the Walker. The Ranger is just, when you get hit by that thing, it just disrupts your sights. It's loud. The masthead's like that now. When I'm here and I suddenly get like a tracer hits me from like a tree or whatever, I'm like, bam! It kind of rocks me a little bit, and it's distracting is what it is. And when you've got multiple mastheads, that gets a little scary for me, and I gotta edge back off. So that's a pain now, because now every infantry player is like masthead. That's what it feels like.
I was always bothered by the fact that they wouldn't allow the archer to be a secondary.
I can't remember what one of the asks will let you do a secondary. Like for NG, I can secondary a shotgun. I have to just burn an ass for it.
I can
Can't
also
you do something like that?
But there should be no gimmick around. I just the idea that you couldn't just slot that in there. I don't want a pistol. I want essentially something to do with maxes at a little bit more range, a little bit more accuracy outside of the decimator up close. And like the fact that so many people asked for that, like, and they were just like, nope, we're not gonna do that. I was like, it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, I thought that would have been a really good fix for a little bit of the max balance. And I know that obviously like that probably would have broken maxes because everyone would have ran it, but I don't know.
I think that's exactly the same thing with C4. C4, you saw what happened to WTAC's max crash during Outfit Wars?
Right. Yeah. Well, C4 is crazy.
It was annihilated. That to me was like that scene in The Last Samurai when the samurai are charging and they pull out the machine gun and just mows them all down. That to me is what that was. The end of the max crash happened at that time.
True. But yeah, well, yeah. I've always floated the idea of allowing me to min-max a bit, and maybe that would be broken too. You tell me if I'm crazy. But maybe I want to take 1 brick of C4 and 2 medkits.
What, like you're able to carry both?
Mm-hmm. Instead of 4 I can carry 4 medkits and no C4, or 1 C4 and 2 medkits, or 2 C4 and no. I get to.
I would make that trade because that would also cause me to run flanker more often because I know I can survive 1 C4 barely, but 2 C4 I'm done. 2 C4 I might as well not even run flanker, and because that's what's happening now with the C4 flashes, I only really run flanker on Hassan because of the air, really.
It just gives more flexibility, and maybe that's too much. I don't know, but
if you did it the way you described, that'd be cool. I think that would probably help the issue in terms of give me more reason to not run stealth all the time, and make your lock-ons last forever.
And I always floated like I pull my Reaver, and I know it's probably complicated, but I've always thought about if I just pulled off all the weapons on it, it should be cheaper. Now I could see how that could be broken. Maybe with the Galaxy, it's so cheap, and you take all the weapons off, you just keep bulldozing through infantry until you're dead, and then you pull another one because it's so cheap. But I mean, that's where Bushido comes in.
As a former Gal driver, that used to be I did that a lot too, and I would high altitude drop a lot. That takes a lot of work. Even if you made it cheaper, that doesn't mean like it takes a while for me to climb that ceiling. It takes a while, and even when I'm low flying and I'm trying to battle Gal, I am very vulnerable to AP rounds. That's
what I'm saying. It would be interesting if you stripped your Galaxy of no weapons. Or it's like, okay, I'm gonna put 1 walker on the top. Okay, now I don't even know how much Galaxy costs. I'm gonna say it costs $450.
I think it's like $450.
It's like, okay, if I just have 1 walker on it or no walkers, maybe it's like $300 or something. Like, if that makes sense.
Oh, you mean like what you equip makes it more expensive?
Yeah, it's like, okay, you want to do an anti-infantry max, it's $750 or it's $700 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
you want to carry 4 resonates, it's going to cost way more than just carrying. I mean, and it does obviously cost 4 times as much as 1 resonate.
True.
But, like, really, like, make people pay for things a little bit more that seem a little more broken. Like, oh, you want to do A2G Reaver? That's way more than an AA Reaver.
Yeah, instead of it costing like $450, maybe it costs you. It used to cost like $600 to pull a Vanguard. Then that was the real clutch move because then I had to be super careful. I know I wasn't gonna get.
That would be a cool ASP thing instead of like, oh, you want to get faster A2G with ASP? Like, no. Like ASP, like you want to transport a Valkyrie or a transport Reaver? It's gonna be dirt cheap with ASP. You can start into that. You want to get a transport Gal? No, it's fully stripped. Maybe it's a little bit faster or something. Okay, boom. It's gonna cost you this much. This is something you can specialize in. Again, something that doesn't give you maybe I mean, it does give you an advantage because I mean it's cheaper, but like you know what I mean. Like it's I don't know. It's a different way of looking at it. Same thing with Thunder.
Ashley said grid inventory. Do you know what that means?
I'm assuming that's like a BR. Like you gonna maybe I don't know. I'm just assuming like you can just kind of use different things.
What did you mean by grid inventory? Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way before. Like it costs me more to equip certain stuff.
Yeah, like bursters should be pretty cheap in my opinion. Not so cheap that everyone runs bursters. And if you want to rekit your max from a burster to anti-infantry or back, it should cost some sort of resource. You shouldn't just be able to just be all 3 types of maxes whenever you want, in my opinion. The burster should be pretty cheap. Or cheaper.
I'm not opposed to that. Because when I'm not an NG, when I'm not a tanker, when I'm not construction, I'm a max.
Oh god. Man,
But
dude.
I think my number 2 weapon of all time is the hacksaw for my personal stats.
Beautiful. I love them. I said they're beautiful. I love them. They're not. They're pretty dirty. And
I love the hacksaw.
How much
and then it's GD7F, and then it's a hacksaw again, and then it's the piston. So I'm pretty much everything that Lex hates.
No, and there's like weird things you could do too, because it's like, okay, maybe you do, and maybe it's just NC that can run the jackhammer as a secondary. But it would be interesting if they don't nerf it or change that. But if I don't want any more shotguns, trust me. So this is a terrible example, but something I can think of. It's like, okay, you want to run a jackhammer secondary, it's going to cost you X amount of resources every time you die and you repull that.
Oh man, so then you better never ever put in a timer for my vehicle, because I'm never gonna run infantry if every time I pull something it takes away from my ability to be a tanker.
Well, again, but hear me out. You're choosing to add something additional to your kit. In this case, the jackhammer. I can only do it.
So if I ran a piston, then that wouldn't cost anything. But if I wanted the jackhammer, that would cost me something.
Well, I think running 2 primaries like that, the jackhammer and like an anchor or something or a saw, is way too strong. Okay. There should be some penalty for that in regards to maybe resource. But the thing is, you can run a pistol. It's not going to cost you anything, right? But if you're choosing to add, like that way, you can't just run it indefinitely.
Sure,
that makes sense. It makes you, again, I think there should be moments that you pick and choose. I would never run a jackhammer that's going to and an anchor at an 80-20 fight, because I'm never going to use it. I'm going to waste the resources and the chance to use that at a fight that I actually needed at. Again, it's about risk and reward.
I'm not going to know that walking in as an NG, running with my jackhammer. No, I can't use a jackhammer. Running with my piston and my GD7F. Like I'm not going to know what you know about that. I'm just going to know it's going to cost me more money.
I guess I don't follow you, but my thing is, it's a choice. It just tells you if you want to do this, then it's going to cost you. Maybe that's too deep, and I don't.
No. It's not too deep. It's not too deep. What I'm saying is that that's a bad choice, so you're not going to make it. Me, the casual player, I'm not going to know that's a bad choice.
No, I'm saying it's not a bad choice. That was the whole thing about Outfit Wars. Is like, I think it showcased, and I was against the jackhammer, and then Tisha's like, dude, it's great, and I was like, okay, and then I was like, oh, you can put it as a secondary. And then like everyone started running it, and it was like, and like everyone then started talking about it on Reddit and stuff, about how like maybe this isn't the best idea, and like it's kind of broken for NC. My point being though is like it's something that's very, very strong, and there's no penalty to it. But the penalty could be, if you want to do that,
oh, I see,
it is strong, is you have to give up some more resources, and then you're gonna run out of resources faster, and then you won't be able to pull it again until you have more resources. And it's like, okay, there's like, do I want my med kits? Do I want a jackhammer? Do I want C4? And like that's what I'm saying. Like, having to choose a little bit more. Maybe you're like, okay, I have a bunch of resources.
Okay.
See, like that's what I'm just saying. Like you could.
I buy that.
Maybe it's a bad example because I think it's only pullable in NC. Off of
how
a gimmick.
How would I force that into the Vanguard? Let's say, because no one pulls Hesh anymore, unless you really just feel like farming. But everyone pulls AP, overheat. So let's say it would cost you more to equip higher range slots. That would make more sense. Like if I had a level 1 stealth, then that wouldn't cost me anything extra. But if I had a level 5 stealth, where now I get that 5th perk of not being on the minimap anymore, then that might cost me 15 extra nanites to pull.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see it going that way. That would be challenging. That would make sense.
Yeah,
if you did that right now with the ASP, then I wouldn't be able to pull 225 tanks anymore. I would be pulling 275, 300, and then I could only pull 2 tanks before I run out.
See, this is interesting. Yeah,
that's a thing that could happen. But don't if you're watching this, Rel, and you think that's a really good idea, don't do that for the main and secondary guns, or you're going to have the opposite effect. Because me pulling a trawler on Hassan or on Indar makes sense, but it doesn't make sense on Esamir. It doesn't make sense on these other ones where the fight may pull me into like AV, where I need a halberd instead. So that's not good. But forcing me to choose between higher tier slots and do I want that versus lower tier?
I think that's a little more difficult on the Vanguard. Or just
but you could make that work. And the result for you as an infantry player is it costs more for me to pull that thing. That's a choice I have to make. Am I ready to commit to this little podunk fight with my full battle rattle? Nah. No, I'm not coming at you hard like that.
What are your thoughts about, and this is the only way to do it, I think, for tanks, or maybe, I guess you could specialize the Lightning and the Vanguard, but your thoughts on, I hate when people say, oh, it's not realistic, but it's like, yeah, well, PlanetSide is definitely not realistic, but
right, yeah.
Like AP rounds, you can't one-shot infantry. Like you're essentially saying, I want to just fight vehicles with this, and I'm not really going to be, like, maybe it takes 2 or 3 shots to kill one infantry guy with AP rounds or something. I'd
be supportive of it.
Hesh, maybe you have to be a little bit closer, or there's more drop or something. I don't even know how you'd balance that.
Well, that's already in there because there is drop off damage.
But maybe you have to be even a little bit closer to infantry to explode. But you said Hesh is not even a thing. But again, if you were to rebalance it, maybe you could do like Hesh is a viable option, but you got to be a little bit closer, and you do almost not almost no damage, but it takes forever to kill like an AP tank or just a tank in general with Hesh. My thing is, everything can't do everything, or there has to be some drawback. I even thought about having a special rocket launcher that you could choose for heavy assault. It's one and done. There is no ammo refill on it until you're dead, and you spawn back in. But it is it's a double rocket. It's a double desi essentially, and it's just more like for anti-max. Like it's already one shot, one kill on an infantry player. So you want to double dump your desi into the infantry player. It's not going to change anything. And you won't be able to kill a tank with it. You shoot essentially 2 desis, hit the tank, and then you have no more decimators. But if you were running 1 decimator, you would have 9 shells or whatever it is. So you'd be able to do more for a sustained period of time with 1. But the idea is you dump it on the max, and I think it should be a one shot kill, but I understand why maybe not. Maybe it's just like a sliver of health. So if I pull out my primary or my pistol or something, I can just finish it off real quick, or a teammate would be able to easily finish it off. But then I'm out of rockets. It's almost like a C4, but I don't know. I guess maybe it's very similar to something like C4.
Why wouldn't all of you just pull that then? And then any max you come across, 2 of you nail it, dead.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying the double desi?
Yeah. Because then all you and your friends would pull that. Why wouldn't you just do that?
Yeah, but that's kind of what you do now. I mean, 2 heavy assaults.
Yeah, with
2
C4.
decimators, and then
okay.
It's very similar, but it gives the. I don't know. I mean, again, maybe it's not fully thought out. I'm using it as an example, but it's interesting because if I miss or one rocket hits, I have no more. There's no more. It's done. I'm out of my. And I don't think it costs you anything like C4 costs. It's just done. Like you're done. As opposed to having, because again, 2 heavy assaults is the same thing with 2 decimators. Now maybe a little bit more coordination there.
Yeah.
But just a unique way. I just don't. I mean, Gob's kind of changed my perspective on C4 and dealing with maxes. So I have feel a little better about dealing with maxes.
Yeah, man. I remember you saying that. I think it was with PlanetSide or something. Somebody was talking about how hard it is to deal with maxes. I said, I'm a max player, man. I die all the time. Don't tell me that I'm just some kill fest, and I don't have a negative KD either.
Sitting in overpop.
What?
Are you sitting in overpop most of the time?
No, not all the time. I'm wherever the fight is. That's sometimes overpopped, sometimes I'm outpopped. The point is that I can shoot, I can gun down, but especially with those light assaults now with the what was the ambush or whatever. You just and then the C4 doesn't even have to be placed on me, just near me. That's half my health right there if I'm not running flak, and then I'm dead if I'm not running flak. If I'm running nano weave or repair or whatever, then I'm dead.
This issue stems from the overpop maxes.
Yeah, well, we saw the end of that with the last samurai shot with WTAC.
That was an overpop, was it? Was it overpop?
It was. They were max crashing the point, and they just whipped out their C4, and it was just like clockwork. Bam, 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 dead.
Was it Outfit Wars?
Yeah, Outfit Wars.
Okay, so it was Outfit Wars. So it wasn't more than likely overpop, like a live. That's my issue is with just the live setting of. Yeah, of course you're gonna die fast if you're overpop.
What I'm saying is, as a max player, that happens on live. Unless I'm walking into a room with one person in it and we've got 12 maxes, you can't possibly hope to kill me all of me. But in normal fights where there are multiple people in a room that I'm trying to max crash into, they just whip out C4 and I'm dead.
Yeah,
the max behind me is dead. Well. The max behind him is dead. Like it is not. I am not seeing this level of massacring that I'm hearing people on the other end saying that's happening. I die too often for that.
It very rarely is in a massacre. It's about. Have you ever ran with like an infantry primary outfit that's small, like a Gob or a Bax or a Recursion?
Yeah, I used to run with HT.
HT and
Hostile Takeover. That was Kid Riots.
How many? Okay, right. How many?
They were smaller fit, but they were pretty much infantry.
How many squads? 1?
2, I think.
2. Okay, and how many times did you in like point hold type of outfit?
Yeah. It was like an beta version of Future Crew.
Beta version is probably much different. I'm curious. You should run with somebody like a. Man, I'm trying to think of somebody.
I did run with Nuck for a very brief amount of time.
That's too old school. I'm trying to think of like a. Not a super. I'm trying to. Man, who is left out there? Maybe like a 2RAF or something. Man, maybe not even that. I don't know. But
they're
just
combined arms.
Yeah, but I know. But I'm trying to think of like a pull hold outfit that's not like top tier. Like, oh no, you should run with right. Maybe
right.
On NC on Emerald. Well, anyway, just a pull hold outfit and just experience. Like, it's not about like very, very. First off, there's not a lot of us when it comes to point. It's not like there's 48 players on the point and you're just going to be able to farm them over and over again. Like this massive pop. It's like most of the time, it's just you're getting was one thing after another taking you guys out. It's like, okay, 2 guys died to A2G, 3 guys died to the max. There's 40 grenades thrown on the point. 3 guys passed from that. It's like it's all the little chip that the max, like the TR max is shooting in the doorway, right? And it's all the pressure at once. Not only is it the pop, not only is the multiple points of contact, like holding a triple point, a triple story point. I can't even think about what it's the
triple stack.
Triple stack. You got the roofs, you got the windows, you got the balcony, you got the stairs. You got A2G flying by. Your beacon's going down. Someone's trying to put it up. There's just all this pressure, and it's like it's building and building and building. And then on top of that pressure, are the tanks that you have. The tank is shooting me from the mountainside into the window. I can't stand now in this large radius of the point, right? I got to kind of tuck away over here. But then there's just nades coming down like the roof staircase. But there's too many up there. We can't So okay, where can I stand? And it's like, okay, now there's also a max coming up the stairs, or maybe he's just peeking like the stairs. I hit him with a decimator. He backs off and gets wrapped. Like they're not getting a lot of kills, but it's like, how do you? It's too much on top of already too much.
It's overwhelming.
Another layer. It's not like I'm fighting 20 infantry players. I'm fighting 20 infantry players plus 2 maxes, plus 2 A2G, plus 2 tanks, plus res grenades.
And at any point in time, one of them could get the shot on you and kill you.
Yeah, it's like another thing that like, if I take off my primary...
Not to mention my AP round coming through the window.
Exactly. I can't even deal with you.
Oh, really? I run the R heat, so my heat round.
Where I can stand. And also movement's big. Like I need to be able to move around, but like that's getting restricted in a lot of these fights. And I'm not very good at C4, so maybe you should talk to somebody else because I just started kind of running it. But it does take time to equip, it does take time to throw, and it does take time to detonate. And then it takes time to go back to your primary. So not only am I trying to fight people infantry on multiple angles, I got the light assault on poking the window, but I'm also trying to fight two guys on the roof stairs. Now you're trying. Now I got to kill these three guys before I die, or he kills my medic or whatever. And there's a max coming up, the back stairs, right on the triple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm first off, it's already a 3v1 from two different angles, and I got a max come up the stairs. It's like if I go for C4, there's so much going on. Like I'm limited in what I can do, right? Which
That's
is fine.
true.
Like I get. So it's just hard to I don't know. It's just a difficult.
When I'm
task.
dealing with the C4,
it's part of the fun. Yeah.
When I'm dealing with C4 as a max, if I don't see them first, like if they're on the other side of the doorway and they chuck it, I don't have enough time to run away before I die.
Right.
But if I see them come through the door with C4, I have half a second to kill them before they throw it and blow me up. If I miss that window, they have enough time to throw it and detonate before they die.
Well,
so I have a very small window to kill a C4 person if I see them. If I don't see them, most of the time, my best thing, I can't get close enough without risk dying.
That goes back to battle flow and kind of this stalemate of you're too scared to push the stairs because you don't get C4.
Not scared. Well, it's stupid of me to run up those stairs knowing that their reaction time, the average player, is faster than mine. It's a mechanic thing. I can't beat the timer on them throwing the C4 over the whatever that thing is. The when you run up the stairs and you can see above it. I can't remember. Yeah. What I know that if they throw the C4, I don't have enough time to run before I'm dead. I have to see them first to meet that window gate in order to kill them and have a chance at surviving. To me, it's not scared. I will run up there if I have to. That's fine. I'll sacrifice myself. PlanetSide, go. PlanetSide, go. But it's foolish for me to think that I can beat that mechanism.
You're not wrong. And I think a lot of the issues stem from base design.
Sure. I got you on that one.
A lot of points are triple stacks, and triple stacks are beyond exposed.
Yeah, that's true, man. It's not difficult for me when I'm in a tank and I'm sighting in. That first sighting in of getting it through the window, that takes me the longest. But once I'd see that, all I have to do is wait for the shadow, like blip, 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 bam. I'm about 30% chance I'm going to hit somebody.
Right, exactly. And a lot of players that are in tanks or in even infantry don't even care all that much about getting lots of kills. Like if I get a kill or I splash, or I'm just spamming this doorway. I don't even care what happens.
That's right. That's right.
So
especially when I'm running ammo printer. I miss 100% of the shots I don't take. I will always take the shot. I don't care anything about my KD. I don't care anything about my headshot ratio or my accuracy. If I'm hitting people, even indirectly, I am lessening their effectiveness. They die faster. We take the point. That's my job.
See, in this, man, dude, there's so many ways for them to go with PlanetSide, and I get not all of them would work, and most of them probably wouldn't. But it's again, it all stems back to 1v1.
Yeah, I'm convinced. You convinced me that if we do that,
yeah,
you convinced me about it.
But in ServerSmash, if I hold that point and I soak up pop and resources, I know that the team somewhere else hopefully can get an advantage.
Yeah,
and maybe in 5 minutes with some resource bleed that can help us out. But in live, it's a lot of the time it's just frivolous, and I mean, and that's part of the fun, right? It's if you capped every base, it wouldn't be that fun,
Yeah. Well,
and the other side of it, though, is the issue is you have to the triple has to be that exposed, because if it's not that exposed, once you start putting, a Zerg Fit puts pop and maxes and Force Multipliers,
you're just gonna helm deep. I can't touch you.
Well, it's the old tech plant. The grinder doors. Literally, that's what the grinder doors name came from. It was hell to get in. It was 2 doors. That's it, right? To get in. And then they had the primary balcony was the generator with no actual balcony. It was just a balcony that you had stairs going up to with the gen on it. And then I'm pretty sure you had to funnel through the grinder doors. I don't think there was another entrance. I could be wrong. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Original PlanetSide tech plant. I think was just picture a normal tech plant, but the only entrance was the grinder doors. 2 doors at the front. On the ground. I could be wrong, but I remember that at least my outfit thought that was the only way in, and we went through those, and it was very easy to hold.
I don't remember.
It was so easy to hold because it's just 2 doors. That's it.
So many iterations I don't remember.
Right, and I could be a little bit off, but and that's part of the issue is like balancing around this idea of like the Bushido outfits or like the primary infantry outfits or like, you know, like they can't pull forever. So like 1 max at this fight or maybe 2 maxes at that fight, but we can't pull more than that because we have resources that we have to manage, right? But a large outfit is like, well, we can just kind of cycle forever, you know? Or the horde can just kind of cycle forever because there's always another player logging in and then going and I can pull this, I can do that. And so like, how do you build a base around that? And
yeah, we will, as a large outfit, we will find a way to optimize anything that we want to. We have the people to figure it out, the data crunchers, the nerds that have nothing to do but sit in PTS, take a shot. Here's an example. When Bastion came out, we scienced the Bastion and the Colossus and the orbital strike so much so that I could turn on a grid and I could hit every single point while the Bastion is moving just by knowing where it is on the grid lines. And I created diagrams and I shared it with the outfit to say, when we're dealing with the Bastion, all we need 2 orbitals, and if it's crossing the grid line at 2 zoom ins, if it's halfway, hit it at the next grid mark, you will hit the first. Nice. You will hit the first one. If you go 25% in, you'll hit the next one. We had it down to a science. It doesn't matter what obstacles you put in our way. We have the numbers to put the research in to make it work, and then we standardize it, make it predictable, and that's how you see all these Zerg fits just fucking crash, and people that make it look like it's just to me, that's what people were calling me as a Zerg fit. You didn't understand that on the other end, we have an SOP that showed people, but diagram by diagram, here's how you do this, and we just apply that across the whole platoon. Dunzo. But then again, who am I talking to? You did VCO. You kind of know. Voodoo Company.
Yeah, but we had a little bit of Bushido. We still did max stretches, but I think once I got going, we really toned down the maxes. We really toned down. There's a lot of times I said, okay, you know, people are like, oh, Aeflic, they're you know, in an alert even, you know, when we were playing the alert meta, and they're like, no, not all the time, you know, but there's maybe even outside the alert meta, but like, hey, that base is about to go, like we're about to lose this tech plant. It's like, that's a 50-50 fight. That's a good fight. If our boys up there can't hold that tech plant at 50-50, or maybe it's 60-40 in our favor already, but we don't want the tech plant to go, it's like, if we lose that, then the guys there, they earned it. Like, we're not going to dump 3 platoons on it, you know, for the sake of it. We're going to let that go.
That's what we would have called how we get called Zerg fits. I think that's what we call sweat fits, maybe. That's interesting. I didn't know that that's what y'all were doing.
We didn't always. And there probably were alerts where it's like, okay, fuck it, this is the last tech plant or whatever. We need this base, so we got to dump everything on it. We would do that, you know. And of course, it was like, oh, you're Zerg fit. But there's a lot of times it's like, there's no point. I mean, dropping 11 squads here, we're going to take 1 platoon here because we need help at this 96 plus fight that we're massively outpopped at. We're going to try to save it. And then we're going to send, another, platoon over here and maybe a squad over there. And I tried to balance, split things up as much as possible to help the faction out. Because right around Zoe max time, most NC outfits left or took a break, and there wasn't a lot of organization, and it allowed me to really grow the outfit because I was able to pull in a lot of people that had nowhere else to go that were still playing the game. And so, and sometimes it felt like I was just, I was leading the entire faction in a way of like organizing and moving things around. But I don't know. It's just an interest. I don't know. Yeah. I think most things stem from better base design and maybe because I would, like I said, I love that tug of war, like trading space for time in a more meaningful way. to where it's like you lose this room, you lose that room, you lose that room, you lose this room, and then it's okay. But now we're fighting on the point.
Yeah.
A little more progression, and like you can hold things a little bit longer and like hold a choke, but it's not like an impossible choke, if that makes sense. It's not too strong. But it's like, how do you balance that against overpop? It's just very on the other side, because like how does
so many variables? Yeah, like you said.
But again, if it's a 1v1, it's like, okay, I know that I'm tying up a lot of pop here, and as long as we're doing that, then somewhere else should be winning. But in 1v1 again, it's just that's a mute point. So I don't know. It's something interesting to talk about. And I know I'm probably talking in circles at this point. And
no, it's all good, man. It's all good. This latter half of the conversation to me, that's turned into a really good one, man. We went deep. Ashley said grid inventory is weight space limits. Then going overweight or using too many grid spots requires burning nanites. That's basically the system.
Okay,
that's interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to stack too many good things on it, right? But it's just there's so much that can be done with it. Instead of like adding another weapon, which I get you got to do, but it's like we're almost, because then you start doing things like the thumper, right? You just add things that maybe just are not
use the thumper. I seem to be the player that you all like, that shitter. Working with a shotgun or on the max or in the tank, like every single time you describe that player, that you're describing me.
but most of the time you're not in that massive overpop though. Like those things don't bother me. Again, that's like A2G at a fight that needs it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Good for you that you should be here. It's when you already are stacking a lot of things against me and then you bring in the next thing that I have to. I'm fighting all these guys over here and a max over here and that tank spam the window and then A2G kills him on the roof. Like that.
Well, to be fair, that is the job, that is the goal of a combined arms outfit, like the Devil Dogs, like Merc. Our goal
overkill though.
Yes, our goal is overwhelming firepower, but that is an old school PlanetSide mindset, in my opinion.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, my son's saying something. I might have to go up there.
Okay, yeah, no problem, man. We can taper it off. We had an awesome discussion, dude.
Yeah, I'm about to go up there. But the only thing I want to add to that is, man, what was my train of thought there? Yeah, but generally speaking, you're losing something else when you're doing that. Like you're sacrificing or leaving your other teammates or outfits or faction hanging by. Again, it's about playing the right amount.
Wherever we are, we're not
the right amount of force. There's no point to have 10 A2G when one will do, or none will do, because you're already going to win it.
It feels better. It looks cooler.
Not if you're losing other things. I mean, right? Because you guys play for territory in the map, right?
Right.
No point to lose 3 bases to gain 1. If
that's true.
Speaking,
but like I said, the lattice system, dude, I don't need to devote across the entire front anymore. I just need to concentrate on 1 or 2 spots, and that just feels shitty for you.
Hold on.
Yep. We can end it.
It is late. It's already 1 o'clock.
Yeah, man.
So
let's dude, that was awesome. I really liked the second half of that conversation.
I liked all of it, but that's okay. I'm fine. All right, man. I appreciate it. It was a blast. I mean, that I can talk for days about things. So
yeah, we might even
go. Yeah, finish your last point.
We might even need to do a part 2, because I feel like that latter portion, overwhelming firepower versus Bushido. I think there's something.
Write it down, dude.
All right,
and
man.
I didn't even come prepared. I didn't even think about any of this until I got here because I had been too busy. So you write it down. You let me know. We'll do a part 2 sometime. You let me know.
Bet, King, pleasure, bet.
I'm glad you reached out back in the day, and I totally forgot who you were. I was like, Devil Dogs. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And you've been doing some good stuff. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Right on. I got Friday. I'll be talking to Pale.
Yeah, I saw you had a Chuck Baller on there. I watched that one at work. So.
Yeah,
and then
good times.
Some content guy, another caster. I didn't even know who he was. He seemed like a cool dude though, and it was a good episode. But I'm interested for Pale. But let me know when you want to do something again, and I'll be more than happy to get on the books.
I'll be in touch, dude.
Pleasure, man.
All right, see you
later.